Council meeting to order. I would like to recognize our chaplain of the day, Bishop Cedric Jones of First Pleasant Hill Missionary Baptist Church, invited by Councilman Canale. The prayer will immediately be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Bishop Jones, would you please lead us in prayer?
Father God, we come today to say thank you, first of all. God, we ask that whatever decisions are made are based solely on your opinion, God. God, we take no credit for anything that's going on today, God. We give you the praise, glory, and honor. God, we ask that you preside over this meeting today. We ask that every opinion that is given is based on unity and be unified with one another. We give great joy in the upkeep and the edification of this great city of ours. We give you all praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Bishop, for your prayer. Councilman Canale.
Thank you, Chairman. Colleagues, for those of you that don't know, Bishop Jones's church is right across the street from our soon-to-be brand-new Lester Community Center, right in the heart of Binghamton. Greetings, be it hereby known that Bishop Cedric E. Jones, in recognition of a life of exemplary qualities, outstanding service to the city, meritorious involvement in humanitarian affairs, and demonstrated concern for governmental processes, has been appointed chaplain of the day of the Memphis City Council and is hereby entitled to all of the honors, rights, privileges, and prerogatives appertaining to the office and to the display of this certificate given under this seal the 13th day of June, 2023. Chairman Martavius Jones, Councilman Ford Canale. Thank you so much.
Bishop Jones, we thank you for your opening words of prayer, sir. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Council members Canale, Carlisle, Colbert, Easter Thomas, Ford, Johnson, Logan, Morgan, Robinson, Vice Chairman Smiley.
No place I'd rather be.
Swearingen Washington. Present. Warren.
Present.
Chairman Jones.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Vice Chair Smiley, have you read the minutes from our last meeting?
Thank you. Viewed the minutes and found them in order, and I move the adoption of the May 16th meeting minutes, and I cannot do it electronically. Yeah. I mean, we can take a voice.
None of them are working.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Our minutes have been moved electronically by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Warren. Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Welcome to the June 13th, 2023 regular meeting of the Memphis City Council. Meetings of this council shall be conducted in an orderly manner to ensure the public has the full opportunity to be heard and the deliberate process of the council is retained at all times. The Sergeant at Arms has meeting agendas available up front, as well as comment cards for members of the public wishing to speak or wishing to be heard on a specific item. All those wishing to speak on an item must turn in their comment cards to the Sergeant at Arms before the item is called. If you're not here to speak on a specific item, You can note your request to give general comments at the end of the meeting. As chair, I will only recognize citizens that properly registered to speak by submitting a completed comment request card to the Sergeant at Arms. Members of the audience and persons addressing the council will not be permitted to engage in gossip, make defamatory, personal, slanderous, or profane comments, or use abusive or vulgar language. Chairperson of the council may maintain order by giving any person who are in violation of the stated rules of decorum a warning to cease any violative conduct in order to leave the council's chambers, or by giving an order for security personnel to remove any disruptive person in the council's chambers who refuses to leave voluntarily. Before we call the meeting to order, colleagues and members of the audience, you may know that our colleague, Patrice Robinson, is not here present today. I wanted to take a moment of silence to recognize her and her family during her time of loss and the loss of her mother. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, item number 38 and 47 have been held for 2 weeks, and item number 41 has been withdrawn.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to object to the holding of item number 38.
Okay, that objection is noted for the record. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number...
I think we vote on that, right? Or are we just going to, since we're objecting, it's going to come up?
Because it was held in executive, the time to object for it was then. This is something that that was held in executive.
Can we ask our attorney, I think we can do business here correctly. I think...
We can.
Mr. Wade, can we object to the hold that was done in executive committee here in our meeting?
This is on our agenda today.
Yes.
It's on the agenda.
Technically, the objection would, the hold would have to take place here.
Here, not in
But
the committee.
even if it was done in executive, you can move, suspend the rules to add it back on if you like.
Yeah. So I object to the hold, move to suspend the rules and add it back to the agenda. I need a second, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a second to place item number 38 back on the agenda. Are there any? Councilman Morgan, you're in the queue.
Ask for the parliamentarian to rule.
Okay. Councilman Warren, is that your comment? Okay. Seeing no other council members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote to This is to replace, so the suspension of the rules, we need 7 votes to suspend the rules, and this would place item number 38 back on the agenda after it was removed in executive.
Correct.
Yes. Yes, suspends the rules. No, keeps it on hold for 2 weeks. Yes. A yes puts it back on the agenda. A no keeps it on hold for 2 weeks. Yes, Vice Chair Somali.
So I wasn't really sure why it was held. Can someone speak to the reasoning for the hold? Because I'm trying to determine how I'm going to vote today. So I need to understand the reason for the hold.
Well, this is an item that the full council, with Councilwoman Robinson not being here, this should be an item that I feel that all 13 council members should vote upon. That was the basis for the hold. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. So we have a power failure on this item.
Must replace this.
Today.
So that was moved by
Okay.
Dr. Warren and seconded by Councilmember Colbert.
Yes.
Are we ready
Yes.
to take the vote? Thank
Yes.
you. Councilmember Canali? Yes. Carlisle? Yes. Carlisle? No? Yes, thank you. Sorry. Colbert? Yes. Easter Thomas? No. Ford? Johnson? No. Logan?
No.
Morgan?
Yes.
Vice Chair Smiley?
No.
Swearingen Washington?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
No.
I have 7 yeses
Okay.
and
That,
5 noes.
that item passes. Okay. So, Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 2? Yes.
These presentations.
Item number 41 has been withdrawn. Item number 47 is held. It wasn't held in executive. No. We have an amended version here today. Gotcha.
I'm not sure where you stopped.
Oh. No. Okay. Okay. We're just at presentations now. Yeah. So, Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 2?
Item number 2 is a resolution commemorating Juneteenth, 2023, within the city of Memphis and highlighting Memphians whose community-driven actions embody the spirit of Juneteenth. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Councilwoman Easton Thomas, you're recognized.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Afternoon, colleagues in the city of Memphis. Can I please have the 10 Juneteenth honorees please join me up here? And I would say your names, Ms. Bridget Bradley, Ms. Sarah Carpenter, Ms. Lexi Carter, Bishop Dillard, Carolyn Goodwin, Reverend Althea Green, Lily Jackson, Jacqueline Mayo, Shirley Rice, and Ms. Wendy Thomas. And as they are coming up, you all, please give them a round of applause. So as we know, because now in the city of Memphis, Juneteenth is a recognized holiday and paid for this year. Thank you to the council. We are just elated to share in the spirit of Juneteenth with those who are nominated by the Memphis City Council this year. And I'll read into the record for the resolution. A resolution of the Memphis City Council commemorating Juneteenth 2023 within the city of Memphis and highlighting Memphians whose community-driven actions embody the spirit of the holiday occasion. Whereas news of the end of slavery did not reach the frontier areas of the United States, in particular, the state of Texas and other southwestern states, until months after conclusion of the Civil War on April 9th, 1865, more than 2.5 years after U.S. President Lincoln formally issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. On June 19th, 1865, the U.S. Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, arrived in Galveston, Texas, with welcoming news the Civil War had ended and the enslaved were free. African Americans who had been enslaved in the Southwest began celebrating June 19th, more commonly known as Juneteenth Independence Day, to inspire and encourage future generations. And African Americans from across the nation have continued the tradition of observing Juneteenth Independence Day for nearly 155 years. On July 21st, 2020, the Memphis City Council approved a resolution requesting to proclaim June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day, and on March 21st, 2023, approved an ordinance officially observing Juneteenth as a City of Memphis holiday by continuing to support the significance of the day and by recognizing the relevance of the day as a renewed opportunity to learn more about the past and to better understand the future. Also, securing the observance of the end of chattel slavery as part of the history and heritage of our nation and our city. With June 19th being the official City of Memphis inaugural Juneteenth Independence Day, the Memphis City Council endeavors to commemorate the date by highlighting and honoring outstanding Memphians who your community actions embody the spirit. We hereby observe the legacy of Juneteenth by honoring you and your work and your contributions that have demonstrated courage, perseverance, and a dedication to improving the lives of fellow Memphians. Ms. Bridget Bradley is an active leader in the Watchful Eye organization. Ms. Sarah Carpenter is the executive director of the Memphis Lift. Ms. Lexi Carter is the chair of the Shelby County Democratic Party. Bishop Linwood Dillard is the founder of Citadel of Deliverance Church of God in Christ. Ms. Carolyn Goodwin is a community advocate in Memphis. Bishop Dr. Reverend Althea Green is the chair of Memphis Shelby County Board of Education and the senior pastor of Life Ministries. Ms. Lily Jackson is the head of the April 4th Foundation. Ms. Jacqueline Mayo is a community organizer of the Whitehaven Christmas Parade. Ms. Shirley Rice, President, Barton Heights Neighborhood Association and board member of Levi Branch Library, and Ms. Wendy Thomas, MLK 50 editor and publisher for Excellence in Journalism. Please join me again as we commemorate these wonderful Memphians for their contributions. And with that, Chair, I so move.
That item has been moved by Councilwoman Easter Thomas, seconded by Councilman Ford. Madam Comptroller, will you show that item has been approved by acclamation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Madam Comptroller, Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 1?
Item number 1 is a resolution honoring minority small business owner Glenelle Smith for opening a Taste of Glenny, a health foods restaurant. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwomen Easter Thomas and Robinson.
Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Is Ms. Glenelle Smith? Come on, Ms. Smith. And I will be reading for our Councilwoman Robinson and myself as Ms. Smith joins us. When noteworthy circumstances arise, the Memphis City Council honors citizens of our communities and our great city and sees fit to recognize the achievements of one Ms. Glenelle Smith. Having resided in Memphis shortly after birth, Glenelle Smith graduated and attended Legacy Memphis City Schools, Rozelle Elementary, Bellevue Junior High, and graduated from Melrose High School. There we go. I heard somebody back there. Golden Wildcat. And went on to receive an associate degree in business administration and accounting and completed a nursing degree program in 1991. Being a resident of the White Haven community for 46 years and a proud homeowner for 29 years, and while being gainfully employed with the federal government for 29 years, Glenelle Smith is a mother of 3 children and grandmother of 4. Having a passion for cooking since the age of 12, cooking brings much joy to the soul when preparing meals for family, friends, and strangers. Being the owner of A Taste of Glenny, a dine-in and carry-out home cooking healthy eating restaurant in the White Haven community, located at 972 East Brooks Road, Glenelle Smith, a minority small business owner, with the use of retirement savings, was assisted by the EDGE board in making the dream a reality. Having a vision to continue the help in the revitalization of the White Haven community by bringing healthy eating alternatives back to the neighborhoods, Glenelle Smith aspires to seek employment for single parents, diverse cultures, and high school students for summer months. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we honor and recognize Ms. Glenelle Smith, a minority small business owner, for her achievements, contributions, and service to the White Haven community. Though ink and parchment are most inadequate to highlight such achievements, we nonetheless recognize Glenelle Smith for her commitment and service to the city of Memphis with the utmost and sincere respect. Given by my hand and under the great seal of the city of Memphis this 13th day of June, Councilwoman Easter Thomas and Councilwoman Patrice Robinson. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Good afternoon. Thank
Good
you
afternoon.
all. I didn't write anything because it was just last minute that I got an invite last night, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to say? So you may have to hit the gavel on me. I'm going to be quick, so because I can talk. But anyway, I just want to thank you all for having me here this afternoon and just hearing my story. This has been a long time coming. As she stated, I just recently retired from the federal government, and this is not something that I had to do. This is something that I love doing, which is cooking and feeding people. And if I can, each day after closing, I would pass out any meals that are left to the homeless population in White Haven to make sure that no one goes without a meal as much as I can, help. So also, I distilled in my children to continue to keep your dream, no matter how old you are or what diversities coming your way, what roadblocks or hurdles are in your way, you can always jump them and continue to run. As long as you can see the end of the rainbow, you can make it. So I try to distill in them to continue to be strong, to continue to be prayerful, and continue to go for your dreams and never give up. So a lot of you can't tell by maybe looking at me, but I do have a serious medical illness, but I never let that define me, who I am, or my work. So there are some days, I kind of pinned this one night, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and on some days that my body says no, God says yes. One day at a time. As long as God continues to bless me with a lot of todays, then I know there are always tomorrows at the end of the rainbow. I owe it all to Him. He alone gets the glory. There is no me, it's all Him. That's my boss, and I am the owner of A Taste of Glenny. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 3?
Item number 3 is a resolution honoring U.S. Coast Guard Captain Ryan S. Rhodes for his years of service at the Coast Guard Station in Memphis. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Canali.
Councilman Canali, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Captain Rhodes, can I get you to come forward, please? Whereas on June 16, 2023, Captain Ryan S. Rhodes will retire from active duty in the United States Coast Guard after 23 years in the service, and whereas the last 3 of Captain Rhodes' years of service have been as commander of Sector Lower Mississippi River, headquartered in Memphis, Tennessee. The sector is the parent command to 1 Marine Safety Detachment, 6 buoy tenders, 1 aid to navigation boat, and 2 response boats, along with its subunits. The sector works diligently to perform the Coast Guard's missions on a daily basis across the expanse of 6 states, over 2,200 river miles, lakes, and their navigable tributaries. And whereas before assuming command of Sector Lower Mississippi River, Captain Rhodes previously oversaw the Capability Deployment and Integration Division in the Office of Shore Forces CG 741 at Coast Guard Headquarters in Washington, D.C., where he was a capability manager and headquarters planning coordinator for the service's largest operational field commands, the sector's activities and marine safety units. Before his assignment to Coast Guard Headquarters, Captain Rhodes served as Deputy Sector Commander at Sector Upper Mississippi River, providing daily oversight for all Coast Guard operations in all or parts of an 11-state area. This included more than 2,200 miles of commercially navigable waterways on the Upper Mississippi, Missouri, and Illinois rivers and their tributaries. And whereas Captain Rhodes' other assignments have ranged from counter-narcotics and law enforcement assistance to logistics officer at stations including Stuttgart, Germany, Charleston, South Carolina, and St. Petersburg and Key West, Florida. He also served 4 years of active duty in the U.S. Army prior to accepting a direct commission into the Coast Guard in July 2000. He has received numerous awards and citations, including Coast Guard Commendation Medals, the Navy Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medals, the Coast Guard Achievement Medal, Army Achievement Medals, and the Coast Guard Commandment's Letter of Commendation. And whereas the Memphis City Council wishes to thank Captain Rhodes for his service to his country, and in particular his service to the city of Memphis in furthering the Coast Guard's mission to protect the navigability, safety, and security of the Mississippi River through the port of Memphis. Now therefore be it resolved that the Memphis City Council does hereby commend and salute Captain Ryan S. Rhodes for his contributions to the city of Memphis and does wish him the best on his retirement. Given by my hand and under the great seal of the city of Memphis, this 13th day of June, 2023, Ford Canale Chairman Martavius Jones. Mr. Chairman, I so move. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your service. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very honored. I don't have remarks. I didn't know this was going to happen. So I'll tell you that it's been a pleasure. It was 43 years ago on the bluff there on the river when I was growing up in 2nd grade. I used to do a field trip. So grew up in Memphis and going to leave Memphis, but I'm going to miss Memphis. It's been a pleasure serving with the police department, the fire department, MLGW, everybody we've served with here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Madam Comptroller. Oh, I'm sorry. So it has been moved. Can I get a second on it? Okay, seconded by Covette. Madam Comptroller, will you please show that this item has been approved by acclamation? Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 4?
Item number 4 is a resolution approving an honorary street name change of Mississippi Boulevard between East Georgia Avenue and South Danny Thomas Boulevard for Memphis firefighter David Pleasant, District 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Canale.
Councilman Canale and Ford.
Thank you, Chairman. Colleagues, we're honored to have part of firefighter Pleasant's crew, 2 of his daughters here with us today, some of the command staff. Chief. Whereas whereas when worthy circumstances arise, the Memphis City Council approves the naming of specified public roads to honor citizens in the community, and surely there can be no greater warrant for such recognition than when a city employee gives his or her life in the line of duty in service to fellow citizens. And whereas Memphis firefighter David Pleasant did just that on August 10th, 2022, driving Memphis Fire Department Truck 5. Firefighter Pleasant was critically injured and died shortly thereafter when the truck was hit in an intersection by a civilian vehicle. And whereas at the time of his death, David Pleasant was in his 32nd year of service with the Memphis Fire Department. A Memphis native and the son of nephew MFD firefighters, Mr. Pleasant attended Craigmont High School. He joined the Memphis Division of Fire Services on July 9, 1990. And whereas throughout the course of firefighter Pleasant's career, he came to be known for his calm, friendly demeanor, honesty and integrity, and devotion to the department and his fellow firefighters. One of his colleagues called him the epitome of a truck man. According to the lieutenant on Truck 5, firefighter Pleasant saved many lives, even in the wreck that claimed him by doing his job to the end. And whereas outside of work, Mr. Pleasant was an avid cyclist with the Memphis Hightailers Bicycle Club and the Knucklehead Cycle Club, he also enjoyed restoring antique cars, being outdoors, car shows, and cooking. And whereas David Pleasant leaves behind 4 daughters, Stephanie Martin of San Antonio, Michelle, Annette, and Janie Pleasant, all of Memphis, and 1 granddaughter. And whereas the Memphis City Council wishes to honor firefighter David Pleasant for his devotion to duty and to the city of Memphis, and to encourage all Memphians to do the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Memphis that Mississippi Boulevard between East Georgia Avenue and South Danny Thomas Boulevard shall be designated and always remembered as Firefighter David Pleasant Boulevard. Be it further resolved that the city engineer is required to affix suitable signs to designating such public road, given by our hands and under the great seal of the city of Memphis this 13th day of June, 2023. Mr. Chairman, I so move. So this was brought by myself and Councilman Ford, but it's co-sponsored by the entire body. To the two of you, your father was a hero, and we could never thank you enough for his service in sacrificing his life for keeping us safe on a daily basis. So thank you so much. God bless you. We'll continue to be in our prayers.
On behalf of me and my sisters, we just wanted to thank the City Council for honoring our father for his dedications to the Memphis Fire Department and the City of Memphis.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the firefighters of the Memphis Fire Department. We go to work every day knowing it could be our last. And I think it means a lot to know that they make a difference and they pay the ultimate sacrifice. So thank you.
Colleagues, thank you again for bringing this. Madam Comptroller, will you please show that this item has been approved by acclamation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll do so.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 62? Yes.
Item number 62 is a resolution approving an honorary street name change of North and South Second Street between Chelsea Avenue and G.E. Patterson Avenue for Tennessee State Representative Barbara Cooper, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Ford, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Ford.
Once the children, I'm gonna see if they're gonna come to town, I'd like to kind of present everything to them, resolution. But I want all 13 council members, well, 12, I'm 13, so y'all please stand because this is a group thing here. This is something we've been working on for a while, and then we were trying to change the street, but we wanted everybody to try to make everybody happy. So what we end up doing, we just said we would do an honorary street name change, but it would be in her district, which would start at 2nd and Chelsea and come all the way down to G.E. Patterson Boulevard. So that would be her complete area, and I think that would be nice. And I want to thank the council. All of us decided we would do just that. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing it, Councilman Ford. And you so move? Okay. That item has been moved by Councilman Ford, seconded by Councilwoman Johnson. Madam Comptroller, will you please show that this item has been moved? Oh, I have to vote on this one.
Canale, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Johnson, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes.
I have a few more council members to
Okay.
be shown as voting yes. Swearingen Washington. Carlisle. Is it everyone unanimous?
Yes.
Thank you. Got you. I called your name.
Yes, that item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our consent agenda?
On our consent agenda, we have, starting with item number 5, ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Memphis, Tennessee, Chapter 15, Tire Business and Tire Hauler Regulation to provide further requirements for tire business retailers regarding the storage and hauling of tires. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5875 is sponsored by Council Members Logan, Swearingen Washington, requirements for tire business retailers regarding the storage and hauling of tires. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5875 is sponsored by Council Members Logan, Swearingen Washington, Carlisle, Easter Thomas, Ford, Johnson, Smiley, and Warren. Item number 6 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 41, Wreckers or Towing Operators of the Code of Ordinances of Memphis, Tennessee, so as to update fees prescribed. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5876 is sponsored by Councilman Canale. Item number 7 is a referendum ordinance to amend the charter of the City of Memphis, same being Chapter 11 of the Acts of 1879 as amended pursuant to Article 11(9) of the Constitution of the State of Tennessee, Home Rule Amendment, so as to provide provisions for the regulation of deadly weapons. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5877 is sponsored by Council Members Smiley and Warren. Item number 8 is up for second reading. The ordinance number is 5870. This ordinance is sponsored by Council Members Canale, Carlisle, and Colvett. Item number 9 is also up for second reading. Ordinance number 5872 is sponsored by the Finance Division. Item number 10 is also up for second reading. Ordinance number 5873 sponsored by the administration. Item number 11 is also up for second reading. Ordinance number 5874 is sponsored by council members Canali, Carlisle, and Smiley. Zoning ordinances for second reading. Ordinance number 5871, the case number is Z23-06. The ordinance is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. Item number 13 begins our engineering division items. Number 13 is a resolution approving the final plat for Getwell and Home C-Store and accepting bond as security. There is a request for same night minutes. The contract number is CR-5442. Item number 14 is a resolution approving engineering plans for Glide Express Car Wash, Amonte, Plan Development, Third Amendment, Parcel D, 3560 Austin P. Highway, and accepting bond as security. There is a request for same night minutes. The contract number is CR-5443. Item number 15 is a resolution approving the final plat for Colonial Country Club Plan Development, Phase 3, Countrywood Parkway, and accepting bond as security. There is a request for same night minutes. The contract number is CR-5444. Item number 16 is a resolution accepting public improvements for South Ridge Industrial Park, 6401 Shelby Drive, contract number 5408, and releasing bond. There is a request for same night minutes. And item number 17 is a resolution approving supplemental agreement number 1 to contract number CR-5405 for CR-5405 State Line Road North, 54 Two-Lane Road. There is a request for same night minutes. That contract number, again, is 5405. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our consent agenda items.
Thank you. Our consent agenda has been, we have a motion by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Colleagues, it is customary for us not to hear public comments on consent agenda items for first and second reading. However, if it's the will of this body, we have 14 cards to speak on items number 6, 7, 8, and 9. So what's the will of the body?
Well, 8 is germane to 38, so you can take that, right? We've been breaking this rule over.
Right. So if we break forward, then I say we hear them all.
Mr. Chair, how many cards?
14.
14?
Yep.
A lot of people who came down here.
It's the will. If there's no objection, we will hear from the 2 minutes. I'm sorry. These are just for the items that were on the consent agenda, so I'm sure we do have other cards. So we're going to hear from everybody. We're going to stick to a strict 2-minute time restriction because we are breaking what our rules are on consent agenda items. That doesn't apply for the other items, but this is consent agenda items. So my first card is from Mr. Ron Davis, who's speaking on item number 6.
Good afternoon, Ron Davis, 714 Lucille Avenue. I might have been number 9-8, but it still applies. So today I'm here to represent the More Budget Coalition and here to read a statement on behalf of them and on behalf of New Revenue for Memphis. A budget is a moral document, and for years, the More Budget Coalition has been calling the city of Memphis to develop a budget that truly reflects our values. I believe that our people and communities deserve to thrive. Yet despite these calls, only meaningful increases in the budget have gone to police departments that already commands 40% of the budget. While we have missed opportunities to make much-needed investments in public transit, housing, neighborhoods, and our youth, investments that will promote health, well-being, and safety for everyone across the city. Now the City Council has the opportunity to take the next steps and start to build a budget that prioritizes investments in people and communities. The More Budget Coalition supports Councilmember Montavious Jones' proposal for a budget that better reflects our values and investments in critical support for our communities. We call on the City Council to vote yes and increase the city's property tax rate by 29 cents to generate an additional $40 million, including $15 million for public transit, $11.2 million for Memphis Affordable Housing Trust Fund, $5.6 million for the creation of an Opportunity Youth Fund, $5.6 million for Parks and Neighborhoods, and $2.8 million for MLPOY Youth Program. This budget will address or begin to address our community's real needs instead of allocating more funding to police, who again already receive 40% of the city's budget. Passing and policing ordinances as early this year to encourage and reinforce the City Council's recognition of the needs of the people they represent. We ask council members to again prioritize our calls to invest in the services that we need to thrive and vote yes on the 29% property tax increase. Thank you.
Our next comment card is from Kayla Gore. Actually, so he mismarked it. It was item number 9.
Hello.
9.
My name is Kayla Gore. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a resident of Memphis, Tennessee, a homeowner here. We have been here before with the people's budget. Today I'm here in opposition to granting MPD $44 million. The organization, My Sister's House, has been able to provide 8 people and 1 child permanent housing. Our homes are located in 4 different districts throughout the city of Memphis. With $44 million, we could provide housing for 676,923 individuals, people living in Memphis and Shelby County with wraparound services. That's what actually making Memphis safer looks like, not funding the police who are already understaffed. My suggestion is to do what many nonprofits do, and that's move some funding around to meet the need. Thanks for your time. Our city needs to grow, not the police.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Gore. Next card is from Mr. Richard Massey.
Councilman, is this on agenda number 7, by the way?
Yes, so these are on consent agenda items. And yes. Item number 7 was on the consent agenda was dealing with deadly weapons?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. My name is Richard Massey, 3615 Central Avenue, 38111. Folks, we can no longer afford to elect inaction as a policy choice. We are constantly gridlocked in a cycle of community after community after community, being literally and figuratively torn apart by the prospect of mass shootings and gun violence. We are witnessing unfold what the CDC has declared to be a national health emergency of epidemic proportions. And this reality isn't normal or by any means natural. This is a byproduct of our elected officials elevating NRA donations over the safety of our children. This is a byproduct of elected officials elevating liability and protection of gun manufacturers over our nation's most precious asset, our children. With firearms now being the leading cause of death and injury among children and teens in this country, we can no longer afford to sugarcoat what's actually happening here. Whether it be the Covenant School in Nashville, a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, example after example after example. Americans are fed up with fearing for their lives every time they leave the premises of their house. And we can look towards establishing a precedent of safety and common sense right here in Memphis. We can look towards enacting safe storage laws to ensure our kids can get their hands on deadly weapons around the house. We can look towards enacting red flag laws and provide Memphians with the legal infrastructure to request a temporary removal of firearms from someone opposed to the risk. We can look towards the idea that if you need a license to operate an automobile, you need a license to own a firearm. We can even replicate the 1994 assault weapons ban, which would have prevented 30 mass shootings if it was still enacted today and it never sunsetted. And we certainly shouldn't relish off the talking points reflecting off of the Second Amendment. The founders never intended for the well-regulated militia to have ownership of weapons of war.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Our next comment card is colleague on item number 8. This is Norman Blake.
Item 5870.
Name and address for the record, please, Mr. Blake.
Sorry, Norman Blake.
Yes, and address for the record.
4381 Tuckahoe.
Thank you.
I'm simply here to support item 5833, actually 5870 as I had it. This redistricting is such an important issue, and I find that so few people know about it. The measure that Councilman Canale has proposed seems to be a reasonable, straightforward, steady move in the right direction instead of an extreme change of districting. And so I just want to say I support it, and thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment card is from Leslie Taylor, item number 8. Name and address for the record before you speak, please.
Leslie Taylor, 4315 Tuckahoe. I'm here also to support 5870. 5870 is a result of the traditional redistricting process via the city mapping department, which does not have a dog in the fight in the next election. It's also supported by Alan Wade, who is also not an elected but rather appointed official, and he's served the city as the attorney for over 30 years. It makes only the necessary changes and affects as few citizens as possible. And this is important because, to my knowledge, y'all don't have a plan for notifying citizens. It does not break up cohesive neighborhoods such as Berkeley, Green Trees, Sea Isle, and Yorkshire. So those are some of the reasons that today I'm telling you we support 5870.
Thank you. Our next comment card, colleagues, is for item number 9. First card we have is Mr. Leo Arnold.
Thank you, Chair Jones. My name is Leo Arnold, 814 River Park Drive. With your permission, our representatives would like to speak in sequence to the points that we raised earlier at the Transportation Committee, if that's your pleasure. Thank you. Very briefly, I am co-chair of MICA Transit Equity. I'd like to briefly introduce our team. This is Dennis Lynch from the Sierra Club Chickasaw Council. This is Dorothy Connor, my co-chair with the MICA Equity Transit Task Force. This is Sammy Hunter, co-chair of the Bus Riders Union. Cynthia Bailey, co-chair and organizer of the Bus Riders Union. And Mr. Johnny Mosley, founder and chair of Citizens for Better Services. We're here today together, united. We had a press conference earlier. We have 35 people in our audience, and if they'll hold up their signs, we're here to support two major things that you're going to be discussing today. The increase of $15.4 million to fund the operational budget of MATA, which Mayor Strickland's budget is woefully low. It's been defunded over the last 3 generations. It's time to create an equitable and most importantly, also a public transit system that will serve all citizens, and it will be an economic development move like no other. It will improve our poverty rate by a substantial amount, and these people will tell you more about each of those. In addition to the money, which will take courage on your part, we hope you will establish a joint accountability task force with the county to hold MATA's feet to the fire, to make sure they improve the daily issues that our team here will describe. Dennis, would you describe our coalition? Thank you. Dennis Lynch,
Mr. Lynch,
North
give us 1
McLean.
second to reset the clock, please. I was asking, give a pause so we can reset the clock for 2 minutes, yes. And name and address for the record, please, Mr. Lynch.
Yeah. Dennis Lynch, 347 North McLean, Midtown, Memphis. I'm Dennis Lynch, a leader in the local chapter of the Sierra Club, and we are here with Micah, the Memphis Coalition for Action and Hope, and also the Citizens for Better Service and the Memphis Bus Riders Union to show the momentum of community support for transit and to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, our city council, we want and we need better transit for a better Memphis. Micah and the Sierra Club have been working together for 4 years, but the Citizens for Better Service and the Bus Riders Union have been pushing for improvements to transit for many more years than that. I think the Citizens for Better Service started in the 1990s. In any case, we emphasize that Memphis and all its residents, businesses, and taxpayers need and deserve an equitable, first-class public transit system. One other dimension of that is that businesses need their employees to be able to get to work on time. So we need the transit system to enable them to do that. Our elected officials know and recognize that growing momentum of support. Our 4 organizations have joined forces as a united front to strongly encourage you all to approve our funding and accountability requests. I will say that numerous other community organizations support transit: Stand for Children, the Moral Budget Committee, the Greater Memphis Chamber, Innovate Memphis, Building Memphis, Memphis for All, the local NAACP branch, and Memphis Center for Independent Living, and other organizations as well. My last point is City Council and County Commission endorsed the Memphis 3.0 plan, which included the Transit Vision Plan 4 years ago. Last year, you all approved additional funding for transit. We need to build on that every year. And let's say it again, better transit for a better Memphis. Our next speaker is Dorothy Connor.
I'm Dorothy Connor, co-chair of Transit Equity for Micah. My address is 577 Thomas Street, apartment 103.
Thank you.
Our citizens need access to our city. Increased funding for MATTR can aid in better access to our city through public transportation. We need more funding. Through major federal grants, we have funds available for new pollution-free electric buses, but we need more operational city funds now to raise starting salaries to attract the needed drivers now, and in the next few years to have them ready, as Transit Vision will shorten wait times with more buses on the routes. New bus funds would not come from this $15.4 million in the budget. We are asking for increased operational funds. We need more funding, more operational city funds for more drivers and mechanics, more funding for new buses. Our buses are old, breaking down, and need maintenance. More funding to increase bus frequency scheduling times. Passengers are waiting extended times between buses in extreme weather conditions due to scanty schedules, no-show buses, and breakdowns. More funding to replace bus shelters and bus stop signs. More funding to clean and maintain transit centers and bus stop areas. These are not new complaints. These have been ongoing issues and complaints for years, and we want to hold MATTR accountable. We need the funding, but we want to hold them accountable for spending the funds on the necessary needs, goods, and services of the community. An increase in the MATTR budget would only mean a better transit for a better Memphis. We need it now. A better transit for a better Memphis.
Thank you. Mr. Sammy Hunter.
Sammy Hunter, co-chairman of the Memphis Bus Riders Union. 4211 Park Chester Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee, 38118. Council, we come to you today. We need the $15.4 for a start. If you later on, if you want to add some more, then that's fine. You have a bad transit system out here. People are standing 2 hours waiting on buses in the heat. You see elderly people that are trying to get to the grocery stores and trying to get to the doctor, trying to get to health care. It is a mess. Because you know why I know? Because I'm out here. They see me. I come up to them and I talk to them. They tell me how they feel. A city of this magnitude needs a good transportation system. I've had companies call me, tell me, say, Mr. Hunter, the reason why we don't come to Memphis, Tennessee? Because we have to have people to get to work. Y'all don't have a good transit system. And it's hurting the taxpayers too because they're not getting to work on time. And boss don't want to hear, hey, my bus was late. They don't want to hear that. So what we need a good transportation system. Each of y'all know we got people standing in the rain, no shelters or nothing like this. This is what the people deal with out here. So I'm telling you, council, we would appreciate you all if y'all stepped up and gave us the funding that we need. Another thing that matters is instead of taking care of business elsewhere, take care of home first. I always have taught, a man has always taught, take care of home first. Then the rest come next. Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate you all for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Next, we have Ms. Cynthia Bailey.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Yeah, so my name is Cynthia Bailey. I've been riding the bus for 30 plus years, and I see a lot out here because I'm out here every day. And I'm speaking on behalf of the community. I love the passion what I do. I go out here, don't get paid, asking people what's going on for their issues. I care about citizens that ride the bus. These are hard-working people. If the bus don't show up, the people's job is at risk. We are for matter to get the $15.4 million, but we want accountability. You cannot get this money and use it elsewhere and then leave us hanging in the rain. It's cold days, it's hot days, and we out here, we see this. We're not telling you all something that someone telling us. We have our boots on the ground, and I have a passion of what I do, and I'm gonna continue fighting until we get justice in the city of Memphis.
Thank you. Next comment card is from Mr. Johnny Mosley.
Good evening. Johnny Mosley, 1150 Pelican Lane, Memphis, Tennessee, 38109. And let me say, before I begin my remark, I always like to recognize my district council member, Councilman Ford, District 6. He's always there for our district. I can call him any time of the day. I'm the founder chairman of Citizen for Better Service. I started the group about 30 years ago. And so they're right, a lot of the issues that they have discussed earlier are not new to me. But what is new to me is that we continue to be dissatisfied with the current public transportation system in our city. I mentioned in the earlier committee meeting of city council about me being the son of a garbage man and how my father worked for the sanitation department. In fact, he did that job for 50 years. In 1968, he marched against discrimination and segregation so I can live in a better city as well as live in a better nation. But for those who ride the mountain buses every day, they do not feel they live in a better city. They don't feel that they live in a better nation. They constantly feel as though they are treated as second-class citizens because they're having a hard time getting back and forth to work. And people say that you ought to be satisfied that you have a bus running in your neighborhood, regardless of the fact that it's running every hour, regardless of the fact that your bus may not show up. But you can never be satisfied with something that causes you pain, causes you suffering. And I'm calling on this Memphis City Council to do whatever you possibly can do to not only to give money to the Memphis Area Transit Authority, but to hold them accountable in making this public transportation system.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Mosley. And just for the public record, there are many of us who want to go to Mrs. Robinson's mother's service tonight, so that's why I'm sticking with a strict time frame of 2 minutes. So please be understanding of that. Next, we have a comment card from Amber Sherman.
Amber Sherman, 6070 North Bell Grove Cove, Memphis, Tennessee. So I've been watching the budget hearings over the last 2 months, and it's honestly embarrassing how much the people who were elected to represent us have pushed back, haven't asked questions, or just chose not to speak up throughout the meetings while not offering any people-centered solutions. Councilwoman Johnson today said, whatever we do, let's make sure that the citizens see the results of what we did. Let's actually give them something they can see. Which was a statement I found very telling and almost insulting because we already see the result of what this body has done every day. We see the results of the disinvestment, the inflated police budget, and the constant disregard for our ask as Memphians of what will keep us safe. Not only do we see it, but so do tourists who come here. Chase Carlisle also said today that he will bring a budget solution that will support youth initiatives, affordable housing, and transportation, and it's gonna require cuts. And I agree, let's cut the police budget. Police don't need any more money. They already have $28 million that has been unaccounted for from disbanding the Scorpion unit in January, which I asked Councilman Carlisle about. He said he would find more information and find out where that money went. None of my emails were responded to. Councilman Colvett today stated that we shouldn't give money to programs or entities without proven data or clear plans on the spending. And it's very hypocritical that we require that when we're talking about funding resources for citizens, but not for the police. And that's probably because we know the data will show they aren't preventing any crime because they're creating it. The data will also show they're using discriminatory policing, that they're abusing their power, and they're ignoring the ordinances that this body has passed, and this body isn't doing anything to hold them accountable either. You're doing the exact opposite by continuing to fund them. We're offering $25 million to libraries, proposing $48 million for parks, but $300 million for police? That's almost half of our budget. Y'all gotta be serious about this. I've contacted all of my council members, which we know we have 4 because we got a super district, but none of y'all have responded. Johnson hasn't responded to emails, Smiley hasn't responded to emails or phone calls or text messages, except for Martavius. Do better.
Thank you. Our next comment card is from L.J. Abraham.
Hello, L.J. Abraham, 199 South McLean. Oddly enough, I'm here in support of agenda item number 9 instead of being opposed to what I normally do when I come up here. So first, I just want to say that it's quite commendable that you are taking the steps to make sure that we start funding our communities a little bit better than what we have in the past. But again, I'll follow up with Amber and say that it still is going to take a whole lot more. Poverty is the reason for crime in the city of Memphis, and that's the only reason we have crime. And until we start addressing those issues, we're going to continuously have crime. So with that being said, if we could also, in considering the budget, take a little bit more away from MPD, who murders people and don't really care about the community. And like Amber said, is still breaking the ordinances that you guys previously passed. I've watched him on numerous occasions continue to pull people over for having expired tags, having tail lights out. And I think that's unfortunate because we fought really hard to make sure that those things didn't happen so we didn't continue the streak of poverty that exists in Memphis. So with this tax increase, I think that's a good start, but I think we have a long way to go. And part of that would be you guys reevaluating the rest of the budget that's coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abraham. Our next card is from Richard Massey. Let's go. Mr. Massey, you spoke on you wrote number 6 earlier, but you spoke on number 9.
I spoke on item number 7, and I also submitted the second card for number 9 as well.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Name and address for the record.
Council, when your constituents fill the capacity of this chamber, time and time again, demanding that their experiences be felt and realized, they weren't anticipating a massive injection of funds into an already hyper-inflated Memphis Police Department budget. What this budget prioritizes is incarceration over infrastructure, detainment over development, jailing over jobs, giveaways over growth, handouts over housing, and surveillance over schools. Our community is reeling from a legacy of disinvestment. As Memphis public schools are in dire need of a comprehensive maintenance refresh and our roads remain fractured from years of neglect, we have an ample opportunity to wield this property tax to invest in Memphis, not special interests. We have an ample opportunity to give ordinary Memphians a fighting chance to get ahead of the curve. In fact, Brookings Institution findings suggest that infrastructure investments actually prevent crime. That's right, crime prevention actually begins with eliminating the incentive to commit crime to begin with. As it stands, the Memphis Police Department's annual budget has increased by 12% since 2012, compared to a measly 7% for the entire city budget. The intersection between community investment and crime prevention can no longer be overlooked. Our city budgets serve as a precursor to opportunity and hope, as opposed to serving as a giveaway to unproven crime prevention methods. We have $28 million at our disposal from the disbanded Scorpion Unit that could be reallocated to the Youth Opportunity Fund, for instance. We must, for the sake of our city, reject the notion that these measures, that investing in our people, giving our people a fighting opportunity to pursue what we perceive to be the American dream, are unaffordable just because they benefit working class Memphians. Let's look in the direction of Memphis, not special interests. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Our next card is from Theron Bond.
Theron C. Bond, 57 North Somerville, Memphis, Tennessee, 38104. Several years ago, I was a Los Angeles resident who lived in an apartment and was forced to park on the street. Several years later, I moved back to Memphis. For the past 4 years, I've lived in an apartment building where I pay monthly for secure gated parking. As a single Black woman who often navigates the city alone, security is important to me. Having an operable car is also important to me. Now picture this, it's 10:30 a.m. on Monday, June 12, 2023, and you've awakened to a text message from your apartment manager indicating a series of busted windows to Kias that are parked in a seemingly secure gated area with only click button access that you pay an additional fee for monthly. Let's add that your apartment manager informs you there is likely no video footage despite the existence of 9 cameras facing this area. Then imagine MPD asking you and giving you a very hard time about giving you more questions than there are answers that they are providing, confirming with the apartment manager that the 9 cameras have not worked in years. Then police refuse to separate the report and group you in with a complete stranger. Then you have to really insist that they fingerprint and fully complete the process. For context, let's also assume you made several attempts to contact the property management company by a phone number that only leads to a voicemail. Now look up and add my face to this story. This is how I spent my Monday, June 12, 2023. So now that we're very close to finalizing this budget, there are a few things that haven't been talked about very much. We need a rental registry that extends to property management companies of apartments. And instead of increasing MPD's budget, how about we line item a victims relief fund for car owners to replace their windows and steering columns when they are victims of theft, regardless of their insurance or residency status. And we also need to implement an MPD policy.
Ms. Bond, we want to get out for Miss Robinson's funeral. Suzanne Jackson.
Thank you for allowing us to speak. Suzanne Jackson, 4194 Fillsdale, 38111. As part of the Moral Budget Coalition, I support the much-needed 29-cent property tax increase. Our tax in 2005 was $3.43. In 2022, it was $2.70, a cut of 73 cents. In 1980, our tax was $3.07. There's only a few years that are less than $3 between 1980 and 2022. This all has included doubling funds for police and cutting drastically and eventually all K through 12 student funding. Our low and moderate income neighborhoods and folks have not received much needed services, housing, parks, transit, and woefully underfunded employee youth. This is especially hit hardest Black, brown, and other people of color, the majority of our community. Our tax dollars need to be invested in our people. I've seen the loss to our community. 10,000 youth seeking 2,500 summer jobs. Youth losing 900 hours per day of reading and math support in school. Reading arts, reducing arts and music in a city that's allegedly noted for soul. Students having to move 6, 8, 10 times in 1 year with their families, and bouncing from school to school or no school. Vacant housing in buildings while our residents sleep on the streets. I had to sometimes hitchhike to get my own children to the health clinic. This is unacceptable, unhealthy, and unsafe. We deserve better with our own tax dollars.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you for your comments. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our fiscal consent agenda? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. Our consent agenda has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, please prepare the screens for the vote.
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our fiscal consent agenda?
That would take us to item number 18, resolution accepting an in-kind donation valued at $10,800 from Literacy Mid-South for the installation of literacy tech hubs at Raleigh, Cunningham, and Ed Rice Community Centers, Districts 1 and 7, Super Districts 8 and 9. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Parks. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 19 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $10,000 from Maddie's Fund to fund life-saving programming. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Memphis Animal Services. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 20 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $4,000 from Maddie's Fund for Pet Resource Center. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Memphis Animal Services. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 21 is a resolution accepting and appropriating the sum of $5,000 funded by Tennessee Civil War Heritage Area Collaborative Partnership Grant for the Tennessee Civil War Heritage Area Collaborative Partnership Grant to support the Memphis Heritage Trail, District 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Housing and Community Development. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 22 is a resolution to accept and appropriate grant funding in the amount of $1,015,200 from the state of Tennessee for in-service training for 1,269 employees. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Fire Services. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 23 is a resolution to appropriate grant funds in the amount of $20,000 for Harbor Docks, project number PW04123, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Public Works. Item number 24 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $14,708 from the State of Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice Program, OCJP, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 51 on our add-ons. Pardon me? Okay, what's next? 63? We're through? Thank you. That concludes our fiscal consent agenda items, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Our consent agenda has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, recused. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Chairman Jones, yes. I have a couple more council members. Councilmember Canali, Councilmember Warren, and Vice Chairman Smiley would like to be shown as voting yes as well.
Thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the MLG&W fiscal consent agenda?
That would take us to item number 25, a resolution awarding contract number 12413, Managed Residential Contact Center to DIRAD Technologies Incorporated, not in the funded not to exceed amount of $18,391,600. Item number 26 is a resolution approving the ratification of purchase order number 7043670 to Tyndale Enterprises, Inc. for flame-resistant clothing in the total amount of $4,097,760.06. Item number 27 is a resolution awarding contract number 12383, Voice and Data Services to AT&T in the funded not to exceed amount of $310,000. Item number 28 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12174, Waste Management Services with Tradable Environmental Services, LLC, to renew the current contract in the funded amount of $100,000. Item number 29 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12245, Well Abandonment with Lane Christensen Company, to renew the current contract in the funded amount of $165,720. Item number 30 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Hitachi Energy USA, Inc. for Tropos Mesh Routers network equipment in the funded amount of $579,942. Item number 31 is a resolution approving change number 17 to contract number 10793, Professional Portfolio Software with Advent Software Incorporated in the funded amount of $35,418.30. Item number 32 is a resolution awarding contract number 12415, Water Gas Booster and Vacant Lots Grounds Maintenance to Rotolo Consultants Incorporated in the funded amount of $338,543.28. Item number 33 is a resolution awarding purchase order to Brighter Days and Nights, Inc. for 3-phase pole mount vacuum reclosers in the funded amount of $3,579,000. Item number 34 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Brighter Days and Nights, Inc. for reclosers vacuum 16KA in the funded amount of $562,275. Item number 35 is a resolution approving the ratification of purchase order number 7030651 to Automotive Tool Group for gas transition tees in the funded amount of $278,329.80. And our final item is number 36, resolution awarding a 12-month blanket purchase order for the purchase of precast concrete impads to Automotive Tool Group in the funded amount of $461,778 and Universal Scaffold and Equipment, LLC in the funded amount of $2,798,400. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our MLGW fiscal consent items.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Our consent agenda MLG&W fiscal consent agenda has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Morgan. We have one comment card, Mr. Corey Hester.
I hear you, but I don't hear you.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record.
Corey Hester, 3787 St. Elmo, Memphis, Tennessee, 38128. I am the business manager that represents the employees of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. I rise in opposition of this contract for contracting our residential management system. Memphis Light, Gas, and Water wants to give away $18 million to Direct Systems, a company up in New York City. Those are the dollars that our citizens can benefit from. That money can go to help let the citizens of Memphis get these jobs in our call center versus letting the contractor have this kind of a work. We had a job fair that over 600 people came out for. Over half came out for positions within our call center. So why are we contracting out this work when our citizens can be benefiting from these jobs? This money can go to help our unemployment rate as well as our poverty rate. Memphis Light, Gas, and Water should not be allowed to contract out this work. I'm asking this body to force them to hire within our city, hire those men and women that came out to get those jobs within the call center. We had a meeting with Timothy Davis on April the 25th. Mr. Davis stated that this company was going to be working remotely from New York. So if we're going to spend that kind of money, surely we can allow the citizens of Memphis to have these jobs and keep that money in-house. Thank you.
Thank you. We have council persons in the queue in this order: Johnson, Warren, Carlisle, and Logan. Councilwoman Johnson.
Hear from Memphis Light, Gas, and Water on that particular topic to hear their side of it while we're giving this $18 million to an outside company, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Doug McGowan, 791 North Grand, President of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. This is a 5-year contract for up to $18 million. As you know, our call center, I'm very proud of the work the team has done. This past fall, we had a 48-minute average speed of answer. Our team, I'm proud to report, has worked that down to 1 minute and 19 seconds in just 6 months' time. That is great work, but it has come on the backs of the employees that we have worked overtime, and they are working very hard to get those numbers down. The contract that we have put forth is a complement to our full-time force. It is an enhancement to the work that we are doing. It is only to match the uptick in calls that we have, and then we'll ramp back down when we no longer have calls. I understand what Mr. Hester is saying. We will certainly employ as many people as we can in full-time positions and part-time positions at the call center. But what this contract allows us to do, and I think nobody wants to see happen, is when there is no call volume, I have to lay people off. We want to be able to fully employ people in a job that they can count on. With contractors, the beauty of this is when the call volume is high, I can activate the contractors to take on some of that call volume. And as soon as the call volume goes low, I turn the contractors off and I no longer have to pay them. So this is a surge capacity for us. As you know, we have some complex billing issues that our team is working on. We have talked previously about the registers and the zero bills. This will allow our team to work on those complex issues. The contractors can take on some of the commonplace calls when the volume is high, and as soon as the volume comes back down, the contractors will be deactivated. We see that happening seasonally throughout the year, and so we think this is in the best economic interest of the ratepayers, the customers. We did a cost comparison, and this saves several $1 million in addition to the fact that it avoids me having to lay off people immediately after I hire them when the volume goes down.
Chair.
Yes, Ms. Johnson.
What percentage of this arrangement will be accountable for your call center?
I'm sorry, could you rephrase the question, Councilwoman?
This new concept, what percentage will they take care of it for your call center?
So you want to help me, Timothy and Martrice? We have more than 70 full-time call center.
I mean, will it be representing 10% of your call center? Will they handle 20% of your call center? What percentage of your call center will this organization actually be responsible for? You're estimating.
Right, I'll let Martrice get some details, but remember, it fluctuates.
I
Depends
said
on the number of
estimate.
calls.
That's what I said, estimating. Go ahead.
So there's not an actual number that says that they're going to be
Miss-
10 or 20%.
Name and address for the record, please.
Martrice Anderson, 9412 Falcon Hill. So the idea is that they're not going to be a specific number or percentage that they will take. The goal is to make sure that we're making our goal. So making sure that while we're still doing training and other things, that we're still meeting the 90 seconds. So we'll be looking at them in increments of 20 and making sure we're meeting our goals. And as the seasons change, we'll bring them back down. If we need additional, we'll ramp up and bring them down. So they're not taking any of our 86 full-time positions that we have. All of those will still be there. This will be to handle peak loads and loads when we're in training classes, things of that nature.
Okay, and how many employees do you have now in that division?
We have 86 full-time, 17 part-time.
How many, 86?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the complete salary-wise that it costs for those 86?
So those 86, our folks, it ranges between $26 and $32 an hour.
Okay, how much is that total a year? What's the point? I'm trying to figure out if we're using $3 million a year for 20 people. Are we using $3 million a year for 100 people? How many people are we using this $3 million a year for?
So the number of people will change. So what we did is a cost estimate, right? So the contract allows for up to 125 as needed, and it's a not to exceed number. What we don't want to do is come back to you and ask for more money. So we're not looking to have 125 unless it takes that, maybe in an emergency situation. Basically, it will ebb and flow as needed so that we meet our performance tolerance. We certainly don't want to have this. So our cost estimate that we have is with an average of 100.
Of 100, and how much is that per hour for that particular arrangement?
So for that vendor, their cost, again, they'll have their management staff and their frontline staff. The frontline staff pay is around $18 an hour plus bonuses for meeting performance goals.
Okay, and you would just bring them in as you need them. Your staff will remain the same at this 86 member. So I'm just trying to figure how $3 million actually makes that big of, is it going to make that big of a difference? But maybe $3 million. Is that a possibility? If I'm hearing maybe $3 million. Okay.
That's correct. Do you want to expand?
Yeah.
Sure.
So since I kind of started all this, let me just give a little clear. My name is Timothy Davis, 220 South Main, Vice President, Chief Customer Officer, MOGW. What we're trying to focus on here, in the past, we have focused on a number of people. And I think that's part of the issue that's gotten us in a little bit of a challenge. What I'm focusing on is to get our goal down to 90 seconds of an average speed of answer. Now, much like the load of electricity, the call volume varies during the day, right? So as you get through the morning to the peak in the later on in the day, that call volume varies as well. It varies on the first and the end of the month. It's really high on Mondays. What we're focusing on here is not novel, because it's a best practice in the industry, is to make sure the people match the call volume. And what you're hearing here about 3 million, it's up to that amount. It's highly unlikely that we will max that out, but during inclement weather, extreme challenges, you need more people. And we need to be able, much like when we dispatch electricity to make sure we have power, we need to be able to dispatch people up and down. It's the same concept of serving electricity.
One other question before I stop. The company that you have selected, those individuals, will they be here in the United States or will they be overseas?
So they'll be here in the United States.
Okay,
There will not be any overseas agents.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. Councilman Warren.
Thank you. So I take it the $3 million a year is not something you're expecting to pay. Is that correct? We're thinking that's worst case scenario?
That would be the full contract authority. We do not expect to extend that much.
And it's $36 an hour we're paying to contractor for each employee that's there?
It's roughly $18 to $19 per hour for a contract, for the contractors. We pay our folks anywhere from $26.98 to $33.29, which creates a savings of $2.88 million.
Okay, do they get bonuses for any reason?
That's based on their performance, yes, sir.
And that's based on the time that they pick up the call? What is their performance?
It's based on a number of performance issues. And as Martrice stated earlier, we presented this RFP to a number of folks, but this particular contractor had a high focus on quality. And that's what we're focusing on in our calls. And that was one of the major factors that allowed us to select them.
And will they be hiring anyone from Memphis? If it's a phone contractor?
I don't really have control over who they hire, but they are based out of New York. And from what I understand, the folks would be based there, which many utilities do to contract services out. So our selecting this contractor was based on their scoring of our RFP.
I understand. But there's no way that you can suggest that. It seems like if it's a phone service and it's done by computer, there ought to be a way that we could get some people in Memphis employed by the company. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We can certainly take that under advisement.
Thank you.
And suggest it. Thank you.
Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colleagues, if you'll recall, before President Young left and took over the helm, we talked about the call center issues. I think at the time there were over 36 available positions that were unfillable in the call center. So for those seeking opportunities to be hired in Memphis, they exist. And the other issue I think at the time was we had a 3-minute average, especially up to 30 in emergency situations. So I appreciate Mr. Hester's points about wanting to have those jobs here, but we also want to promise customers service. I mean, the last time you were on hold for more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 15 minutes when the power's out, no one really cares where that person is as long as they can help them get to where they need to go. So this ultimately is not and I see the argument that's trying to occur here, which is we're taking jobs away from Memphians. The reality is that there were jobs available, we couldn't even fill them. And so MLGW, we tasked Chief McGowan and his team to figure out how to deliver service for customer and our ratepayers at the most affordable price. And so now we have the opportunity to do that at an almost $8 an hour savings. Now I'd say that you've got some benefit compression in there too, but this is a good deal for MLGW. It's a good deal for our ratepayers from an economic standpoint, and it delivers service to people especially, and this is the most important thing to remember, this is a complement so that when we head into an emergency situation and thousands of people are without power and are trying to make phone calls, they're not waiting 30, 45 minutes or even an hour and a half. This is an absolute no-brainer thing to do for me. I hope you'll support it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. I, too, want to make certain that I understand fully before voting, and I appreciate you all for bringing that, Corey. When you spoke of the rollovers, so if there's during the day, you mentioned during the day, in the morning, certain time periods, so is it that when there is high call volume, it automatically rolls over to that organization or to the New York call center? And also, that's the question.
So first to the councilman's, when I arrived here, our average speed of answer was roughly 48 minutes. And I want to make sure, we averaged 48 minutes when I arrived here on September 6th. Our employees have moved heaven and earth in a very short period of time since that time, in less than a year, to reduce the average speed of answer. The goal that we aspired to was 9 minutes. The employees reduced that to 5 minutes, even though they hadn't made the goal. We reduced that further to 3 minutes. And I'm proud to say to you, in the month of May, our average speed of answer was 1 minute and 18 seconds. So great work. I say all that to say this. I have challenged my staff with consistent, repeatable, and sustainable performance when Memphians need us the most. We are having some challenges with metering issues and billing. The people that are there have not only earned my respect for their resiliency, working 10, 12 hours a day in some cases, I hope they have earned yours as well. They support this in my conversations with them. And my goal here and my commitment to all of you was to make a difference here. I knew it wouldn't be easy, right? But I came here to make a difference. So I can certainly respect, and I want to echo the councilman's, this is the best thing, I think, for Memphians. It allows us to rise and fall based on the needs of our customers. To answer your question, these people will be dealing with simple, high volumatic calls, primarily payment arrangements, which is what our folks call for and ask for because for a variety of reasons. The difficult calls that take a long period of time, that will be answered by the people here who know our citizens best. But this high volume of calls creates difficulty in having those average speed of answer when folks need us the most. Those are the calls going to New York.
Okay, so are those you mentioned during the day, and I think this is a great idea. I just want to make certain myself as well that I'm understanding that we're not necessarily filling positions out of town that could be filled here. Because I know like certain companies, they may have seasonal workers, they may have temporary workers, they may have different types of workers. And I know you mentioned that if we need these people, we'll call them in or call them or contract with them. And if we don't, we won't. And that sounded like seasonal to me. And so I wondered if you all had thought about that or looked at that.
Again, I would liken it to serving electricity. It's based on demand. The more electricity that we demand over the course of the day, the more resources that have to be dispatched. The more call volumes that happen throughout the day, throughout the month, certain times a day, certain times a week, we will dispatch those folks, especially when we're dealing with inclement weather and outages and some of these billing challenges that we're having. So it's not, I guess you could call it seasonal, but in the utility jargon, we base it on demand. When customers want us, want us to be there. But I want to remind you all, this isn't based on a number of people. This is based on achieving unprecedented results of answering a customer's call in 90 seconds or less. And to my knowledge, we've never had that level of service.
Absolutely, that would be wonderful, and I want that too. I just wanted to understand, make certain that it wasn't seasonal, and we can hire seasonal people. You know, we can put out for seasonal employees at $25, $36, whatever it is, that we may get more people that may want seasonal if that was projected, like if it was put out like that. That's why I was asking. But if it's the way you explained it, I totally understand. You wouldn't be able to hire seasonal people if it's during the day, at any point during the day, and then you let them go.
And as Martrice mentioned earlier, we have part-time and contract folks to do exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, all right, thank you. You're back,
and those
Chair.
folks are local Memphians.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Issa Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for that, and I'm glad that response time is down to a minute or so. But that brings me to think about, and I feel like this is the best time to ask, for our community service centers for MLGW, that if they're not calling, they're usually used to walking in or walking up to one. How does this factor into the customer service response?
That's an excellent question, Councilwoman. Thank you for allowing me to answer that. Since my time here, I've been focused on gathering data, so we make data-based decisions on how we decide how to staff things. Since my arrival here and some of the improvements we've made, we've seen a 40 to 60% reduction in traffic to our community offices. We are currently, under Chief McGowan's leadership, doing a study to figure out how do we improve service. Now, even though we have improved it and we've seen it drop, we're asking ourselves, what should our services to community offices be like in a post-COVID environment? Things have changed.
Well, they're closed, so of course the traffic's going to decrease if they're closed.
They're open.
They're all back open.
All but the summer office, but all four
Okay, that's
have been
the one
open
that
since my
I'm looking
arrival.
at, because that's the
2
one
weeks after my arrival.
that's the only one in
they
my
were
district. So that's the one that I'm concerned about.
I'm sorry, what's the one you're
The
concerned
one
about?
on Summer, and it ain't even in my district. It's just on the edge.
Yes, ma'am. I'm having a study completed, and I'm actually have been looking at heat maps to gather data on the zip codes of our customers and where they go and pay. So we ultimately will make decisions based on the data of how our customers use our services.
Okay. Well, I'm advocating for, if not that one, another service center to open in District 7/5 over there, because of folks constantly asking about another opportunity for response. And so if I say, well, yeah, we're getting additional people who may be coming out of New York, that's not a good response for me to give to my constituents. So I just want to share that to you. I don't need a response. I just want to hand that off to y'all while we're on the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Easter Thomas. We have Councilwoman Johnson in the queue. I haven't spoken yet. I have a couple questions, and I recognize you. Mr. Davis, I want to commend you for the job that you've done, but this proposal seems counterintuitive to what your results have been. You've gotten it down to less than a minute without this. So why is this necessary when the current staff that you have right now has gotten you to where you want to be from a customer response standpoint?
That's a fair question. The reasoning for that is things will change. Historically, during the summer, during periods of inclement weather, call volumes go up. Some of the things that we have planned in the future will increase call volume. And I also want to remind you that we have been working under optimal conditions. If I lose more than 10 people a day, all of this, we're not going to be able to sustain it. So you're right, we have moved heaven and earth, but you can't ask people to move heaven and earth every day. The other thing that I'm very adamant about is our call center for investing in their future. What I want those call center people to be is the talent pool of the future for MLG&W. And it's difficult for me to let people go off and train and invest in their career if they have to be on the phone. Right now, I can't allow more than 10 people. And as you know, people call in sick, they train, they want to go on vacation, they want to do things for their kids. And we're very limited in our ability to let people go. So adding this work, as Chairman McGowan said, as our call volumes ebb and flow, I would hate to have a reduction in forces because I've hired 50 people and then I no longer need them. My commitment to you when I first got here was to make changes, but let me be clear, I've just started. We have more improvements planned, and I need those people to be able to grow and develop in order to invest in their future and in the future of our customers.
Okay, and so looking at the call center right now, how many vacancies do we have? And how many field positions do we have?
Did you say field position?
Field, F-I-L-L-E-D, field.
I know we just filled
Current.
7.
The only vacancies that we currently have, we have a few people who've been promoted to different positions, and so we're just kind of waiting to go through the processes. There's really only about 4 that we have, and then we have a few on the street with offers that we're waiting for the paperwork to come back. So there's about 4 openings right now.
Okay, and so if we look at the total complement of the call center right now, how many FTEs as well as PTs are we talking
We have
about?
86 full-time positions
86.
and 17 part-time.
Okay, thank you for that. And my question too was along with Councilwoman Easter Thomas's 40 to 60% utilization. I think that is a result of them having been closed for so long, because some post-COVID, when they were not open, and I just don't want to see this as a means to close some of our community offices. Now, my pushback on this is, I think that if we have inclement weather, you're going to get the volume of calls. But is it worth spending $3.678 million per year? because that's not going to get folks' utilities turned on any sooner. If there's an outage that you all know about with the upgrade in the infrastructure that we're talking about, and you can pinpoint where that outage is, look, so Ms. Swearinger, Mr. Smiley and I live in the same neighborhood. If we all call because there's an increase in call volume, that's not going to get our utilities turned on any faster, is it? If you know where the outage is, it's in my neighborhood, they fix the transformer, you have everybody in our block calling. We know that during inclement weather, call volume is going to go up. But is it worth spending that $3 million if it's not going to get our utilities turned on any faster? If JB calls and you see it's in our area, I'm just being simplistic here, and tell me where I'm wrong with this. If I'm being simplistic in this, if we all call at the same time, we all on the same circuit, if you would, how is sending $3 million, $18 million going to get our utilities turned on fast? Because that's the result that we want, isn't it, ultimately? The professionals in MLG&W, please, Mr. Carlisle.
I understand what you're saying, Chairman, but I also think you expect that when all three of you call, that I answer all of your calls, and when I don't answer your call, you're going to ask me why you're not answering, because none of you have universal knowledge that each one of you is calling about the same outage. And so, yes, it is a multivariate process. The call center receives the calls. They have to amalgamate those and dispatch them to our dispatch center. Then I have a whole different crew, and if you want to align it with what we do for that kind of work, I also have a significant number of dollars allocated for contract crews that I call in for emergency restoration. I don't just use MLGW crews to turn that power on. I use contracted crews when I need them to surge. So you are correct. I would suggest that if on a regular day, if two people call about the same outage, it doesn't get the outage restored any faster. But I did answer two people and satisfy them that we know what's happening and that we're going to fix your call. And that's exactly what we are supposed to do, is tell our customers, here is what's happening and here's what the resolution is going to be.
Okay, and then my next question would be, what would be a scenario when they would be engaged? It's a storm outage, and so still to your point, as a contractor, if I'm owning this contract, does MLG&W flip the switch? That's when it's engaged, or is there a minimum amount that they build even if we don't engage them?
So there's no minimum requirement of contractors that we have to use. And the idea is that we'll do them in increments as needed, and it will, like they said, it'll ebb and flow as needed for the demand. A lot of it will deal with us doing training. So we are building a brand new department that deals with quality assurance. And the first focus is going to be our contact centers and the quality of the service that we give our customers and making that even greater. And for that to happen, they have to be off the phone for training to do those things. And it's not a kind of a one-day thing. It's a multi-faceted training program that everyone will be going through. And if we don't have assistance to do that, basically all of what we've gained will be sacrificed to do the quality training.
So where I'm getting to, let's say we've engaged this contract and we go through the month of May and we didn't have an inclement weather, we didn't have any spikes. $3.678 million divided by 12 is $300,000 per month. Do we still pay that $300,000?
No.
If we don't use them at all? Okay.
No.
Okay. And that is
the value of doing it this way. You're only paying for what you use.
When you use it.
When you use it. And I also want to reiterate, we are going to increase our focus on the quality of the call. Upon arriving, we've been focusing on quantity and just trying to answer it. I'm personally concerned about the quality of the call that we have for Memphians. And we need to get our people trained. We've established a brand new department, workforce optimization, quality and training for our people, because I want to invest in them because they're the future of MLGW. And I need to get them off the phones so I can do that. I also need to let people go to their kids' graduations and their dance recitals. We've been unable to do that to get you this level of performance, and they've done it willingly. But I have promised them relief, and that's why I come to you today to make that happen. The people that are there have been resilient. They've earned my respect. These folks that we're hiring for these contractors is to address those high volume of calls to give our people some relief. This is just as much for our employees as it is for our customers.
Okay. Thank you for that. My last comment, though, on this matter is still going to be one where if you were telling me we were spending $18 million extra for contract to get the utilities turned on quite quicker or faster, I can see that. But because I don't see that value add. I understand, you know, if we get a storm tonight, I think it's everybody's expectation. Hey, the call volume is going to be up. But do we have to spend this $18 million over 5 years? Or here's another question. Is it possible to do this on a trial basis just for 1 year? What type of ramp up are they having to do in order to do this? But before we commit to this 5-year, $18 million, I'd be okay with spending $3.7 million and see how we use it on that basis. Now, as a contractor, that wouldn't be attractive to me, but as the one who's paying, that would be more attractive, and that's the position in which I'm sitting.
Thank you for your question. So first off, let me reiterate, this is as you use it. So all we're talking about here is the ability to spend that much money. And the contract is not for 5 years. It has several, just like most of the contracts here, that they have 1 year with multiple years to give us the option to extend it. If we choose not to, we can stop. And by the way, we've told the contractor that it's likely over time, as we automate and make several improvements, we won't have the level of volume. They're aware of that. So we will start off, as Martrice said earlier, with roughly 20 people to see how it works, and we'll ramp up and down based on the needs of Memphians. So the call volume that we'll be asking them to take will be based on the needs of our citizens, and it will go up and go down. But what we don't want to do is to come back to you all time and time again to ask for additional money. So we've built that in with extensions. There are also penalties if they don't meet certain quality assurance and if they don't have the proper number of staffing. And this activity is consistent in my 41 years of experience as being responsible for running large call centers and large customer service organizations. This approach is what successful companies do to achieve the unprecedented average speed of answer that we've trying to commit to you. Okay. So all I can do is give you the facts and the data of what successful companies do and plead with you that you allow us to do this. All I'm focusing on here to do is telling you what the data tells me and my 41 years of experience.
Thank you. Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you. My first question you had answers in regards to vacancies. After listening to the presentation, I understand the concept, how you're going to operate it. It also goes to say, well, if it gets out of hand or too expensive, you could just stop using it, and that ends that. But I do think the community was entitled to an explanation when you're going to spend a potential $18 million and send it outside of this area. The public should have heard how this money was intended to be spent. So that was my major concern as well. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Carlisle.
I move the previous question.
Was there, Ms. Logan, you motioned that you want to separate? Did you?
Nope. Okay. I moved the previous question.
All right. Okay. Seeing no other members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote? Ms. McGowan, before you leave. After the vote. Yeah.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Colleagues, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege to announce that I'm going to seek a third term as a council member because the MLG&W totally disregarded the charter the board did when they decided to release or relax a residency requirement. So, Mr. McGowan, can you speak on MLG&W board action that apparently, based upon published reports, that they have loosened what would be the residency requirement that was set by charter. And the Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Division is a division of the city of Memphis. And any type of loosening of the residency requirement should be by resolution, or should be by charter ordinance voted on by the people of Memphis, not by the MLG&W board.
Thank you, and I see Mr. Wade approaching the dais. I'd be happy to answer that for you, and I just want to give some context about the previous dialogue too. I'm pulling on all levers to improve the performance you all demanded for MLGW to give the citizens of this area. And to the previous conversation, $18 million to help improve customer service is important, but it complements the $1.2 billion that we're putting in to improve actual outages that we're going to spend by about 2027. So there is a heck of a lot of money going into that. I also have 400 vacancies. When I arrived, I challenged our HR chief to give us, to cut that number of vacancies in half this year and in half again next year. We also did an analysis to determine what the impediments were to some people coming on to hire. There's a competitive environment out there. You've heard that with police and fire, people getting hired away and people coming in and poaching our very qualified individuals. To the point of residency, we have heard that that is a resistance for fully qualified linemen to come and work with us. I want to add a couple of points here. From 1940 until 2005, the city of Memphis, from 1940 until 2005, the city of Memphis had a residency requirement by charter. The Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Division did not have the same residency requirement. In 2005, under then President Lee, he asked, and the board agreed, the board of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water put into place a residency requirement. The city council did not have any action at that time. The board has the authority to rescind that requirement. We have a legal opinion by our general counsel that has been coordinated with several other folks, and I see Attorney Wade here, who does not disagree that this is the correct interpretation of the charter. When the charter was changed, it applies to employees of the city of Memphis. And so the action we have taken is consistent with the charter. The action was not to circumvent, the action was to take actions appropriate to the authority of the body and not have to go seek authority from a body that didn't have a say in the first place when it was put into place. And so we think it was an appropriate action consistent with the authority of the board. It is not going to solve all of the hiring problems for Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, but it will certainly allow us in this metropolitan statistic area, which has 1.4 million people, as opposed to the 930,000 people in the county of Shelby, to give me 400,000 more people or so to pull from. Secondly, I want to mention, and if you read my 6-month report, how important it is for us to build a pipeline of people. And so, since I have been appointed to this position, we have partnered with the Memphis and Shelby County Schools and Southwest Tennessee Community College. Today, we have 22 students from Whitehaven High School who are in a Memphis Light, Gas, and Water utility worker and lineman boot camp who will graduate next week. They will be given the opportunity in the fall to join the utility worker program. And for those that are rising seniors, they will be given the opportunity to enroll in the first ever dual enrollment lineman and utility worker program so that when they graduate high school next year, they can complete a climbing class and come to work for us. When I say pulling on all levers, I mean pulling on all levers. And do I have an intention to go get hire people who live just across the border in droves of hundreds? No, but can I find a fully qualified lineman to come in and help us fill those positions and make our system more reliable? You bet. And are we going across the country to find fully qualified linemen and ask them to move here? You bet. If you've seen TV, you've seen an ad that we've put on to let people know we're hiring. We are pulling every lever here. So again, Councilman, we have worked together in good faith for the last 7.5 years. I have always brought you the things that were in your, we've done things that were in the mayor's authority. We brought things to you that were in your authority. There was no intent to offend or otherwise circumvent any process. I said simply the board hath put into place and the board has taken away that restriction from us. And the opinion we have from our attorney, we have coordinated with Mr. Wade, and he will tell you his opinion on that.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Wade? Because this wasn't anything that has been discussed with us, so it would be a benefit to this council as well as the public to hear your comments, please.
Yep. I think before Cheryl Patterson resigned, she shared with me an opinion that they had. As you may or may not know, that residency requirements have been amended 4 or 5 times. The last time it was amended was to extend the reach to hire police officers and public safety officers, not within the city, but within Shelby County. And in that ordinance, I believe the language was changed that was there before, where it applied to employees of the city, commissions, and affiliated organizations. When the last amendment was made, it basically only says employees employed solely by the city, and that other language was deleted. And that's where we stand today. So that's the change that allowed them to do what they're doing. Now, it's a question of intent. We can argue back and forth, pro and con about it, but courts usually look at the language and say it was intended to do what it was intended to do. I will tell you that it's been the most confusing aspect of our charter, that provision. It was amended many, many, many times because nobody could agree on what it says. But that's the basis upon which they're doing what they're doing, the last amendment. Okay. And I can provide that to you in a different, I don't have my book in front of me. I could give you specifics, but that's my understanding of where we are.
But you said opinion, though, correct?
Excuse me?
You said opinion, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's all I'm basing it upon is opinion.
Right.
So, but the name of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, is it Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Company or a division of the city of Memphis?
It's a division of the city of Memphis in the context that it is a division, but it is also an enterprise fund where they derive revenue. Not
So does solid waste, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. That's all. Thank you, Mr. McGowan. Any other? I don't see any other colleagues in the queue. There's no item we need to speak on. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 51?
Item number 51 is a resolution to allocate and appropriate $350,000 to the Works Incorporated, District 4, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Council Members Swearingen, Washington, and Carlisle. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met recommends approval, and I so move. My screen needs to be cleared, though.
Yes.
Comptroller. I've got special item 1. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Try again. Is it moved by Carlisle, second by Warren?
Yes.
That's what I see. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
yes. That item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please? I'm sorry. We do have a comment card from Mr. Joe Kent.
Yes, Joe Kent, 5111 Flamingo. I think I went over this last time I was here. On the same day that I announced the filing of my informal review with the assessor of the Windmill development for being underappraised from the 2022 tax year by an estimated $100 million. An hour later, the Daily Memphian busted out a promotional article featuring Chance Carlisle calling for increased public accountability.
Allow him to speak, Mr. Carlisle.
Mr. Carlisle can start with the assessor, with the assessor as far as accountability goes. Like the NCRM, the Daily Memphian is a whitewashing operation of the current day. Miss Roshan Austin of the Works is on the Daily Memphian Board of Directors. I suspect and hope that Miss Austin is not a fan of these whitewashing antics. So with regard to the appropriation of the Works website says the following. The Works Incorporated builds, restores, and renews Memphis neighborhoods through innovation, advocacy, and collaboration. With this in mind, I would like to collaborate, partner, and come together with Ms. Austin on some advocacy. I would like to partner with her on a submission using public records that tells the story of the edge public disinvestment of the South Memphis and advocates for the South Memphis public disinvestment for public investment. This story has not been told anywhere in print and only on one news station, Fox 13. It's terrible. The press is terrible here. The Daily Memphian has not covered this tragedy. In fact, in the sheltered corporate socialist Memphis, this tragedy has not been covered in print. I'm certain Ms. Austin would like to make this right as it aligns with the organizational advocacy charge of the Works. And we can also call Mr. Buckner Welford to find some money on the Memphis Health Ed Board. They've got about $12 million in excess cash, which was another one of my ideas.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Seeing no council members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Point of order.
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 52?
Item number 52 is a resolution to amend the FY24 budget for the City of Memphis Legislative Division, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Councilmember Smiley, Logan, and Swearingen Washington. There is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle.
Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Vice Chair Smiley. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 53?
Item number 53 is a resolution to transfer GO bond funds from IS 01082 to IT 01005 to cover the new Treasury tax system contract. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division, and there is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes.
Will you please show Councilmember Smiley is voting yes on this item?
Okay. Well, that item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 54?
Item number 54 is a resolution to amend the Q4 General Fund Operating Budget Amendment. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Thank you. That item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the item for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 55?
Item number 55 is a resolution to transfer a contract construction allocation and appropriate funds to contract construction cost for fire station canopy and patio, project phases 3 and 4, project number FS23102, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Fire Services. There's a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. The committee met recommended approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilwoman Logan, seconded by Councilwoman Easton Thomas. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 56?
Item number 56 is a resolution amending the FY operating budget to increase revenues and expenditures by $351,419.51 in docking fees from American Queen Voyages to be spent on the operation of Bill Street, District 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Community Development. There is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Covett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Thank you. That item has been moved by Councilman Covett, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas recused. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That was item number 56? Okay. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 57?
Item number 57 is a resolution to accept the appropriation and allocation of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development allocation from the Community Project Fund made available by the U.S. Congress for an economic development initiative in the amount of $3 million for the Division of HCD Historic Melrose Redevelopment Project, District 4, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Community Development. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Covett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Covett, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 58?
Item number 58 is a resolution approving a management agreement between the City of Memphis through its Division of Parks and Knowledge Quest to manage, operate, and program the former Head Start building at Gaston Community Center, District 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Parks. There is a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Warren.
Mr. Chair, committee met, recommend approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Warren, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Show Council Member Logan is voting yes on this item. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 59?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 59 is a resolution approving a 25-year lease to the University of Memphis for 4145 Southern Avenue, also known as the Leftwich Tennis Center, District 5, Super District 9. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Parks. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee met, recommended approval. I so move.
Thank you. That item has been moved by Councilman Warren, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. We have one comment card. Mr. Joe Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gotcha. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe Kent, 5111 Flamingo. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for asking questions about this. I think we need to have a readout that, like we didn't get with from the Riverfront Steering Committee on all things Riverfront, which we've never gotten a readout on. Having a complete readout on this will give us a detail to how much money they still owe on the loan after the $7.5 million payment they're getting ready to pay. You know, the balance, how much time does the University of Memphis get? You know, I've read a lot of this, but, you know, it's all scattered around. How much time the University of Memphis gets as far as court time. But there's two deliverables. There was one deliverable was a home for the University of Memphis, tennis, and the other one is to a 25, you know, we're going to end up spending, and let's take a look at this ROI, $25 million tennis stadium to teach poor black kids to play tennis, which is, you know, there's tennis courts everywhere. You know, that can happen anywhere. The undisclosed beneficiary is this group called Tennis Memphis. Now, what we're going to find out probably, they get free court time everywhere they can. They sell court time, they do tennis lessons. All that's subsidized by the taxpayer. And what we're going to find out is this is another elitist taxpayer subsidy deal. You know, you got crazy socks, I got crazy socks too. It's a party, you know. Kind of like at Agri Center, you know, that they don't even know nobody knows what's going on at Agri Center. It's a $226 million facility. County mayor has no idea what's going on out there. Neither does the director. But it's a party. It's taxpayer. It's crazy socks, you know. So anyway, I'm glad you asked about that. And I hope you will talk to somebody, as far as the EDGE review, somebody other than EDGE evaluating themselves and smoking their own dope. So anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. We have Councilwoman Johnson in the queue. Councilwoman Johnson.
Chair, in committee today on this topic, you were seeking some additional information. Did you receive the information in regards to how the funding was divided?
So what I was referencing, and, you know, my memory only served me to a certain point, but there were two articles, one being in 2019, I think it may have been August of 2019, and then there was a subsequent article in 2021. So the first article referenced an amount of about $19 million. The second one referenced an amount of about $24 million. So if you combine those two together, it's about $43 million. However, what I learned is that the 19 was part of the 24. However, the 24 has ballooned to about anywhere between $32, $34 million. So some of the information that I was able to glean today, or that was shared with me, is that the University of Memphis is scheduled to make good on the loans. I think it may be 2026 or 2020 by December 2026, 2027. I didn't write it down, but it's one of those dates. And so one of the articles that I referenced, though, spoke of a $10 million loan that the city of Memphis provided. And so, but then that's on top of about a $3 million grant in addition to in-kind contributions. So the in-kind contributions, along with the grants, totaled about $4.5 million. But the other 10 is a loan to be paid back either in 2026 or 2027.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that question. What you want to find out is how much private money
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Thank you. Thank you. So, seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, no.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 60?
Item number 60 is a resolution requesting the approval to transfer a 0.22 acre parcel adjacent to Douglas Elementary School to Memphis Shelby County Schools Board of Education, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by General Services, and there is a request for same night minutes.
I'm sorry, Joe Kent was distracting me with his socks. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you, well, I'm going to recognize Councilman Vice Chair Smiley on item number 61.
Thank you. So, as I believe it received a message from Chief Ford indicating that item 61 was not supposed to be included on this agenda because it's included in the funding resolution that the Finance Division will be bringing. And with that, I move that we table this indefinitely.
Okay. Without objection, staff.
Table,
okay.
Strike, hold.
Hold it to the next meeting?
No, it does not need to be.
It's not necessary.
Okay.
Just move it. Just get rid of it. Table.
So if there's no objection, item number 61 will be tabled. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 63?
Item number 63 is a resolution to allocate and appropriate American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds to Time Is Now Douglas CDC for Juneteenth celebration in Douglas community, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Council members Easter, Thomas, and Jones. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Easter Thomas? Is there a resolution?
Thank you, Chair. This was in executive committee. So you want to move it?
If you move it, I'll second.
Okay, I so move.
Okay. Item number 63 has been moved and seconded.
It's by Easter Thomas and seconded by you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, I'm sorry, Councilman Warren.
I just want to make a public record that we did a check to make sure that this was appropriate use of the ARPA funds, and we were assured by our staff that this was appropriate. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chair.
Yes, Councilwoman.
I don't want to say I so move as amended. We amended the last whereas to add in to Councilman Warren's point to show that, I'll just read it. Efforts by the way of Juneteenth celebration in Douglas community to provide and host a job fair, community health fair, include food assistance giveaways to neighborhood residents in the community of Douglas.
Okay, so this item has been moved as amended. It was moved by Councilwoman Easter Thomas, seconded by yours truly. And so, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens to vote on this item as amended? Item number 63.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes. Thank you. Also show Councilwoman Johnson's voting yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 37?
Number 37 on our regular agenda is appointments to the Memphis Civil Service Commission, Laurie Hall, Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Commission, a non-voting countywide advisory member, James Llewellyn.
Chair.
Thank you. Councilwoman Easter Thomas, you're recognized.
The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
That item has been moved by Councilwoman Easter Thomas, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan abstained. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 42? I'm sorry, item 40. Item 40. 40, yes.
Item number 40 is an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Memphis, Chapter 2-16, City Real Property Management, to require any contracts for the exterior modification of city-owned property that is leased to any unaffiliated nonprofit organization with a cost in excess of $3 million be presented to the Memphis City Council for approval. Up for third and final reading, ordinance number 5863 is sponsored by council members Jones, Ford, Johnson, Logan, Swearingen, Washington, and Warren. This was held from May 16th.
Thank you. Colleagues, you have before you a revised, so this resolution, this ordinance, substitute ordinance would be as amended. You can see the red changes to this particular order. You'll see some additions as well as omissions from this. So I just wanted to vote it up or down. Whatever the will of the body is, you have Councilman Warren, Councilman Logan in the queue, but we also have cards from Beth Flanagan and Carissa Hussong. Ms. Flanagan.
Again, 1535 Vance Avenue. Before I make a statement, may I have a moment before you start my time, to read this?
Ma'am?
She's asking for time to read it. We haven't seen this. Or is this-
Okay. Ms. Hussong, are you ready to speak on this item?
I would prefer to wait as well, please.
Okay. So we have comments from Councilman Warren and Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've received a number of calls from people who are philanthropists or people who are trying to do projects throughout the city, and they were concerned about unintended consequences of what we were trying to do. I signed on initially as a sponsor for this because I thought it made sense for us to be able to have some sort of council oversight or approval. I don't think we've really worked this out to the degree that I think our community that is donating significant amount of money to projects that we want is comfortable with. And I would like to see if we possibly could table this particular item and then have some more time to talk and come up with something that is going to get to the goal that we initially had to make sure council did have some sort of oversight or input, but without scaring people off and making sure everyone's comfortable. So, Mr. Chair, I would like to move to table this and then let's have further discussions with our community and try to figure out how we come back and come up with something that would do the original purpose. So that's my motion.
Before I recognize that, let me hear from some members who were in the queue as well as those who are here, if there's no objection to the make of that.
Second. Then
you have a second.
Okay,
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Councilwoman Logan.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chair. I do feel like we have a responsibility to the public for public property. However, we definitely don't want to do anything that will impede upon projects being done. I think there was some misunderstanding or maybe some questions about the process or how this will be handled. I've gotten calls, I've been contacted regarding the process. I think there's thought that we have to prove every step. That there are multiple steps that we would have to prove, which would impede upon progress of the private projects or just projects in general. So I was going to ask to hold it, not necessarily table it, but I was going to ask to hold it just to clarify those details on the process.
Great. So, colleagues, I would add, though, if you look at one of the revisions on the back, bless you. Well, first provision on the front. Projects currently under construction. Yes.
I think Dr. Warren's got to withdraw his motion to table before any further debate can continue.
Okay.
Or he can keep it and no debate can make happen.
Well, so mine is speaking to the motion to table.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. So
motions to table are not debatable.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think one of the reasons that it's a good idea to table it as opposed to hold it is it's going to keep coming back every week, every 2 weeks until we've got the thing worked out, and we're in the middle of budget. I think this may be something we'll be dealing with in August or September. We can bring it back. I think we have a majority. We get a good bill. We'll bring it back up to the table and vote on it. So that's my thoughts.
That's fine, but I'm okay either vote it up or vote it down. So I would object to the tabling. We dispose of it or we don't. So this is the motion to table. If you're voting to table it, it's still on as the make of the motion. I won't bring it back. Either it's up or down. So, colleagues, we see that the philanthropic market or industry is represented here. We were elected to represent the taxpayer. So I object to the tabling. Either vote it up or vote it down. Dispose of it. So I would ask respectfully to table it. If I won't be here in 7 months. If this council wants to bring it up then, fine. But let's dispose of it. As opposed to tabling it, kicking it down the road. I won't bring it back. Stand by your vote, whether you support this in its current fashion, I'm okay with it. I'm not married to it. Stand by your vote if you in support of it, yes. If you're not, fine. So why table it when we can dispose of it? If you want to bring it back, or those who are on the council when I leave want to bring it back, fine.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
The reason that I felt tabling it made sense is I think the initial thought process is good.
Mr. Warren, if you want to bring it back as a council member who would be here in 2024, have at it.
But I don't want to vote against your idea, but I will if forced. So if you would like me to remove my motion, I'll be glad to do that.
If you would, yes.
Yes, sir. I
Thank
will
you.
withdraw my motion to
Do
table.
you withdraw your second, Mr. Covett?
I move to table. Yeah, I mean,
Okay. Okay. Well, this is a vote, Ms. Will you please present special item number 2? This is a motion to table. It's moved by, actually, you removed yours. Moved by Carlisle, seconded by Covett. You can bring it back. Yep. Yes. Council members, please, this is a vote to table. Yes, table. Yes, a no keeps it on.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas recused. Ford, yes. Johnson, no. Logan, no. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, no. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, no.
This item passes. This is tabled. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 42?
Item number 42 is a resolution requesting the city attorney to provide a monthly litigation report, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Chairman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Colleagues, this item was heard in executive. This is just, I was informed by a former assistant city attorney that in prior administrations, the council received monthly litigation reports. It's a general report that the council will receive just to be apprised of lawsuits that the city is either a party, lawsuits that the city is a party to. So you have it before you, just a simple resolution, monthly report, or litigation report. So I'll move it. Seconded by Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 43?
Item number 43 is a resolution to transfer and appropriate additional construction funds in the amount of $380,573 from FY23 Bridge Repair Cover Line, project number PW23400, to Homes Burlington Northern Santa Fe BNSF Approach Repair, project number PW04122, to repair bridges. Districts 3 and 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the administration.
Vice Chair Smiley. Item 43.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee met. Recommended approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 44?
Item number 44 is a resolution to amend FY23 CIP budget by allocating and appropriating $6,800,000 in funds for the purchase of various vehicles and equipment through incurrence of indebtedness via the execution of a loan agreement through the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met recommends approval, and I so move.
That item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 45?
Item number 45 is an initial resolution authorizing the incurrence of indebtedness by the City of Memphis, Tennessee, of not to exceed $6,800,000 by the execution with the Public Building Authority of the City of Clarksville, Tennessee, of a loan agreement to provide funding for public works projects, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division.
Thank you. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 48?
Item number 48 is a resolution approving proposed consolidated plan PY23 and FY24 annual action plan and appropriating federal entitlement funds to the PY23 FY24 housing and community development budget. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Community Development.
Thank you. Councilman Covette. Oh, so the vice chair of that committee is Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. The committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
Okay. That item has been moved by Councilwoman Logan, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Thank you.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes. Mr. Colbert, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 49?
Item number 49 is a resolution to transfer a portion of the City of Memphis Division of Police Services CIP project number PD 02018, Violent Crimes Unit renovation, from the construction line to architecture and engineering, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services.
Thank you. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. The committee met recommended approval, and I so move.
That item has been moved by Councilwoman Logan, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, we did call item 46, didn't we? Okay, I'm sorry. Gotcha. Okay, Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 46?
Item number 46 is a resolution authorizing a loan agreement between the City of Memphis, Tennessee and the Public Building Authority of the City of Clarksville, Tennessee in the principal amount of not to exceed $6,800,000, authorizing the execution and delivery of such loan agreement and other documents relating to said loan, approving the issuance of a bond by such public building authority, providing for the application of the proceeds of said loan and the payment of such indebtedness, and consenting to the assignment of the city's obligation under such loan agreement. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division.
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Call that yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 47? Oh, we did that? Okay. I'm missing, I think I'm missing a sheet of these 7 and 8. Oh, let me see. Bear with me.
Yeah. And then we had the same 9 minutes that we didn't have to.
And that item 64.
Just want to make the same 9 minutes for the 200,000, 20,000.
Okay. Okay. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 50?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 50 is the resolution approving the Downtown Memphis Commission FY24 operating budget. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the administration.
Thank you. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Morgan. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, no. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Colleagues, Councilman Canali. I got you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to hold item 39 until the second meeting in July.
Okay. Okay, is there any objection to holding item number 39, colleagues? No. Seeing no objection, that item is held for 2 weeks, Mr. Canali? Second meeting in July. Okay, so that item will be held until the second meeting in July.
Thank you,
without
Mr.
objection.
Chairman. So noted.
Colleagues, I need a motion to suspend the rules to add item number 64. This was something that was left off. This is a resolution to approve the Memorandum of Understanding MOU with Shelby County Government and the City of Memphis Division of Solid Waste for the purpose of conducting a regional waste characterization study and solid waste master plan for Shelby County. This is sponsored by the administration, and there's a request for same night minutes.
It's already been moved, I think.
Okay, so that was moved by Smiley, seconded by Swearingen Washington. Is there an objection to suspending the rules?
No objection.
Okay. So now we will have this as item number 64. Will you move it?
Absolutely.
It's second by Carlisle. So seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare item number 64 for the vote?
Yeah.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. That brings us to one last item, colleagues. It's 6:33, and I thought we wanted to go to Councilwoman Robinson's mother's services that end at 7. So we have comment cards. Do we have comment cards for number 37?
Item on the
38.
agenda.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I thought you were going to the after meeting comment cards. I apologize.
Let's see. Okay. Okay, so, I'm sorry. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 38?
Item number 38 is an ordinance to revise and change certain council districts due to population changes reflected in the 2020 federal census, so that all such districts will remain as equal as practical. Up for third and final reading, ordinance number 5869 is sponsored by Councilwoman Easter Thomas and Chairman Jones.
Okay, Michael Easter Thomas stepped out for just a second, so I will move it. Is there a second so we can begin to hear the comment cards for this item? Okay. First comment card we have is from Joan Thomas. Okay. Next card we have is for Leslie Taylor.
Leslie Taylor, 4315 Tuckahoe Road. Thank you for saving this item to the end because people will remember it. My understanding is that Ordinance 5869 seeks to, quote, reduce contention on the council. Council members Memphis citizens are a diverse group. That should be celebrated. We elected you to represent us. We elected you to work through these very issues and come to a better solution than you would in a silo. We did not elect you to manipulate district boundaries in order to make legislating easier. This is exactly the sort of behavior that makes people feel frustrated and feel that the government is rigged against them. That is not a look that you want for City Council. Many Memphians are considering leaving Memphis due to the oppressive crime. Disenfranchising citizens will only serve to light a fire under those who are considering getting out already. I would encourage you to not pursue ordinance number 5869 and instead pursue the ordinance that follows the normal procedure given as a result of the mapping department, which does not have a dog in this next election. Further, I would ask, what is your plan to notify citizens? What is the process whereby citizens can find out if their neighborhood is being redefined? What is the rush? Why do these changes need to be implemented before the next election? How do you think this affects representation on council going forward? And I have my theories. Why are we splitting neighborhoods like Sea Isle and Berkeley and separating people who have
Ms. Taylor, thank you for your comments. Our next comment card is from Mr. Norman Blake. Norman Blake.
Norman Blake, 4381 Tuckahoe. I'm here to say that I can't believe that the citizens of Memphis are not aware of how serious of an issue this is. There's nobody here even aware that this major change could happen. I see this as gerrymandering at the least and probably voter suppression at the worst. But I just don't understand how this word does not get out this important issue that people are not aware of the effects it can have on the city and the complexion of the city council. It does not allow the people to know about it. If this was to be passed, how would y'all ever let people know they've been redistricted, know where to go vote? So how are they going to know how to vote? Then you get less people voting. So I think this is a bad idea, and I do not support it.
Thank you for your comments. Our next comment card is from Dr. Derek Harris. Before you speak, Ms. Harris, is there any other member of the redistricting committee that's present?
I don't believe it is, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, as a member of the redistricting committee speaking on this item, Mr. Harris, I'll give you 4 minutes to speak on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Derek D. Harris, 85 River Drive West. I've been before this body and we've talked about these mapping plans several times. So I wrote down notes, but let me just speak from my heart and from my mind. I think there's a lot of misnomers. There's a lot of bad information related to the process. So let me deal with what I think the 4 fundamental issues that I see. There are facts. There's what people feel. In our community, it's always racially tinged, underlining and sometimes overt. And then lastly, there's what's right. The facts are the 2020 census estimates had Memphis at about 633,104 people. The original mapping plan proposed by Mr. Wade from last year still had those same numbers, 633,104. The city actually is 627, roughly 448. Those are the facts when you take in consideration the people who de-annexed themselves out of the city of Memphis. Facts are the district map that I put together combined downtown. Instead of having two people representing them from a single member district, they have one. Raleigh has been combined, and the Cordova area has been combined. And let me deal with Cordova and Warren. Cordova has about 62,000 people or so, and it's currently split into two pieces. Part of it is in District 1, part of it is in District 2. All I did was combine Cordova into one district so that those folks could have the opportunity to have dedicated representation. Those are facts. There's been a lot of talk about what this map does and what this proposal does. Those are feelings. These are facts. What we didn't try to do was gerrymander at all. In fact, what we tried to do was ungerrymander the map, because if you look at the shape of the map and look at the way it's been structured, one could question the way it was designed historically. But we are where we are today. As we all know, the city has changed. The demographics have changed. For whatever reason, people have left the city. Some people have stayed. We had 646,000 plus people in 2010. That went down to 633, then 627. Those are the facts. That's not manipulating anything. We've just changed. People have left. The main purpose of redistricting is to have proportionality, to reapportion the districts. That's a fact. So let's deal with some of the other things that have been said about this. You know, some of the people have said, well, I'm trying to do something racially with the maps, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. The facts are the city demographics have changed rapidly over the years, and there's some fine people here in the audience who want to keep their communities intact. Well, we talked about a proposal to have community districts or single-member districts. It would give these fine people their own district. People in Midtown would have their own, East Memphis, everywhere. Right now, we don't have that, so we had to work with the tools that we had. We have a super district structure and a single-member district structure. So we had to work with what we had. Those are facts. Those are what we work with, and the proposals that I put together were measurable, they were verifiable, and you could actually prove what we were saying. Lastly, let me say, and I think I got a couple more minutes, Mr. Chairman.
30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yep.
Let's just deal with the facts. Memphis has changed. We weren't trying to do anything nefarious in the mapping process. The city has just shrunk. The population has left. We don't want that to continue, and that's not what we set out to do. But I think we ought to really just take a look at what the facts are, where we are in terms of demographics, and move on from there. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Councilmember Easter Thomas, you were not in when the motion was made. Did you want to make any remarks, comments?
Just shared that to remind everyone and also thank my colleagues for all voting to participate in this redistricting committee process, and also nominating community members to partake in that process. So just saying thank you for letting us partake in the process.
Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm opposed to the map that's being presented in this ordinance, and I won't enumerate on all the different reasons that I oppose it today. I think that would take us too long. So I want to get to the heart of the matter. And I believe the motivations behind this proposed map are not as been represented. I do also believe there are good people who have been caught up in this redistricting process by some of those misrepresentations about why this process was being begun in the first place, what it was intended to do, and what the result would be. To the heart of it, I also believe that just as iron sharpens iron, so one man or one woman sharpens another. And through dissent and debate and deliberations, this council engages in decisions and votes that are in the best interest of the security and the well-being of the people of the city of Memphis. And we go through a deliberative process that sometimes is difficult and does have a diverse set of ideas and backgrounds as we come to approach the issue. But through that difficult, tough process, we get to a better result for the people. And I think that's part of the curse of being in a legislative body, that there are not 13 of me up here, or there are not 13 of another council member, or 13 of another council member. We are all independent, different, and represent the areas that have sent us forward. If you know how to read the data and can read between the political lines, you'll see that this proposed map seeks to stifle dissent and debate before it even has a chance to occur. And I think that would be to the detriment of the city of Memphis. It was not in the best interest of the city of Memphis when that occurred in the past. It is not in the best interest of Memphis as we try to build a better future together. For those reasons, I will be voting against this today, and I hope the majority of my colleagues will join me.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan. We have Councilwoman Swearingen Washington and Logan in the queue. Colleagues, the map that's up for third reading was done by one person, Mr. Allen Wade. This was a process that all of us were invited to participate in. And really, colleagues, it's insulting for the detractors of this who had an opportunity to participate but didn't. But then once you see one, the input, the deliberative process, Mr. Morgan, was when we had all of these community meetings that most of you didn't even show up to. I said most of you didn't even show up to, that are the detractors, the ones speaking out against this. So it's an insult to those, Mrs. Johnson who showed up, to most of them, Mr. Warren who showed up, Mrs. Robinson. Now, granted, we signed up for this. We know what our responsibilities are. But to have one that, and one of the things that I'd heard in my 7.5 years that I've been on the council representing downtown, Super District 8, the western half of Memphis, is that the people of downtown said that they would want to have one voice. I don't represent Super District 9, but we're talking about a large section, 60 to 70,000 individuals, to have them split where versus one that I would say the themes of this was to bring, and you know, everybody's not going to be happy with this, but it was to bring a downtown into one representative. Because if you live in Harbortown and South Bluff, you probably have the same issues. Then also to bring Cordova into this. And so we started with the process, and we went through this, and as one who voted against practically every de-annexation to take place, before some of you joined this council, we had people who wanted to get out of Memphis. And some of you, Mr. Covett, from the standpoint, represented that particular area. And so what I've heard, my mom lives in Super District 9. And so, and other people that I know in Cordova want to say that we want one voice. And that's what this does. What we will be voting on, colleagues, if we don't approve this, is an undemocratic process by one individual. And there was a comment made by the public. Look, the one that we will be approving next week, if that's the case, there was no public notice besides coming to a meeting. Even the council didn't have proper input. Mr. Wade, when he presented it for us last year, he said he spoke to several council members, but did not speak to me and didn't speak to other council members. So yes, we are your representatives, but when your representatives didn't have an opportunity to provide input on this process, that's an undemocratic process. So if we approve this, if we vote against this map, we are saying okay to an undemocratic process that the district lines were drawn by one individual. And thanks for Mr. Harris, we would have had people voting for the Memphis mayor who are no longer citizens of Memphis. That is not okay, but that's what we would be left with. Councilwoman Swearingen Washington, followed by Logan and Warren.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, I got you.
Thank you, Chair. I have reviewed Ordinance 5869 and the changes proposed for District 4. And based on this review and my recent interaction with the voters in District 4 during the November 8th, 2022 special election, I cannot support Ordinance number 5869. First, the voters in District 4 with whom I have most recently interacted overwhelmingly reject any changes to the current district. Having run successfully under the existing plan, I have personal knowledge that the change will be disrupting to the voting public. During my candidacy in this special election, I've worked hard to introduce myself to the voters, including newly added precincts 1102 and 1104. It is my opinion that any further changes in the district would make it more difficult for any candidate to run for election in October 2023. Finally, the changes proposed in District 4 remove certain core aspects of the district in the vicinity of South Parkway East and Elvis Presley, which contain the historic Hamilton High School, where my mom taught for 41 years and where I volunteered actively, where many current residents attended high school. Former county commissioner and president of the NAACP, Jesse Turner Senior, the Jesse Turner Senior Park, formerly Bellevue Park, Lincoln Park. These are historically core areas of District 4, and they were deleted. The longtime residents of A. Maceo Walker, who was the president of Universal Life Insurance Company and president of Tri-State Bank. Mr. Walker and his family were instrumental in the development of this area, which was the precursor of South Memphis. This historically significant district, in my opinion, should not be changed. And therefore, I will be voting against ordinance number 5869, and I'm asking that my colleagues support as well.
Councilwoman Logan, followed by Warren and Canale.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to acknowledge that, as you all have heard, this is a very challenging decision or question for us. The change is not always easy. And initially, I was not for this at all because I love my district. My district loves me from Cordova all the way over to Fraser. And I did not want to see that change, but I had to realize that it wasn't about me. This was about the process and the people. And so I attended the community meetings to make certain that I was representing my constituents. And what I heard was one Cordova, and what I heard was keep Raleigh intact. And those were phone calls, texts, and being actually at the community meetings. And so that's the decision that, I had to make because I represent my district. I represent the people that elected me. And so this seems to be a double-edged sword. It's not, the people that elected you, that's who you're supposed to represent. And everyone has to vote their conscience and vote who they represent. So with that being said, I am in support of this because the constituents that voted me in are in support of this. With that, I yield back.
Thank you. Councilman Warren, followed by Canale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did attend the committee meetings, and I would like to call the question, providing Councilman Canale will allow me to do so.
Canale, you've removed yourself from the queue? Okay. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canale, no. Carlisle, no. Colbert, no. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, no. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, no. Swearingen, Washington, no. Warren, no. Chairman Jones, no.
Okay. That item fails.
Mr. Chairman, I'm in the queue. I'm in the queue, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well.
May I be recognized?
No, sir. So. He called for the question.
Right, and I'd like to be recognized after that.
Well,
to make a motion.
Okay.
I move to add item 38 with same 9 minutes.
Objection.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Are there two objections to making this say 9 minutes?
It doesn't matter.
You object to it?
It's a voted on. Whether there's one or two, I have a motion on the floor. It still has to be voted on.
Okay. So have an objection to, so there's a motion to, Mr. Wade, you got any comments?
It can be voted on if you suspend the rules to vote on it and have it added to same night minutes.
So there's a motion to suspend, that's your motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. Wade, I made a motion to add it to same night minutes. He objected, so it's clearly not without objection. I have a second, so will we not just vote on it as a regular motion?
Well, you probably get to the same point.
So suspend the rules.
So I move to suspend the rules to add item number 38 with same night minutes.
Okay. Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare that as special item number 3?
What are we doing?
Seconded by Warren. Seconded by Warren. Okay. So this is a motion to suspend the rules. So the motion to suspend the rules, yes, we will have a second motion to add it. So
Motion to suspend the rule, they have to be a motion
yes.
to add it.
Is everybody clear on what the motion is? No. Okay, so the motion to suspend the rules is that we can hear it and discuss whether or not we're adding it. So if we do not want to have it on same night minutes, the first way to vote against that is to vote no on suspending the rules. Yes. Yes.
Correct. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas, no. Ford, yes. Johnson abstained. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, no. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, no.
Okay. The motion to suspend the rules passes.
I missed a council member.
Okay.
Councilwoman Logan, no.
Okay, but we still have 7 votes. That item passes. So, Madam Comptroller, will you prepare special item number 4? And this is a motion to add item number 38 to same night minutes. Moved by Carlisle, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare this item for the vote?
Oh, okay.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colbert, yes. Easter Thomas, no. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan abstained. Morgan, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley abstained. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, no.
The motion to add that to the same night minutes passes. That brings us to our same night minutes. Here you go. Here you go.
Plus 64?
Yep.
Yeah, plus 64.
We're done at the bottom. Vice Chair Smiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The same night minutes items are 4, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, and 38.
Okay.
And I move.
Same night minutes have been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Oh, shit.
The vote for the same night minutes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes.
But it really didn't.
Colbert, yes.
It was no.
Ford, Ford, yes. Johnson, yes.
I did a vote.
Logan, yes.
I thought I voted.
Morgan, yes.
Get in time.
Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
Smiley, yes.
Smiley, yes. Ms. Meredith,
That item
you
passes.
got them all? Okay.
That brings us to our general comment cards. We have comment cards. I see that Ms. Lexi Carter has left. Our next comment card is from Josh Adams. Ms. Adams.
Josh Adams, 4750 Wood Ridge Drive. Nationally, about 42% of police interactions are traffic stops. Locally, 45% of those stops have nothing to do with safety. That would mean about 19% of MPD activity has nothing to do with safety. One commenter mentioned that $28 million should be removed from MPD's budget, but I find that being generous. That 19% would be about $50 million out of the proposed $254 million. And if that money is not moved, that would mean that the money could be spent on policing tactics that only increase poverty, that increase fear, and increase the likeliness that police violence may occur again. If you want to improve the lives of people, especially the youth, use ordinances and taxes to create the conditions that directly benefit parents whose labor is constantly exploited by employers that get frivolous tax breaks. If unaffordable housing developers and Memphis CEOs can take their children out on the town and buy their children cars in their teenage years, then their workers should be able to do the same. You wouldn't be worried about the youth out past curfew if you would give their parents what is required to take their family out and build an enjoyable household. You wouldn't be worried about car thefts if you would attract living wage creators or tax the living daylights out of the ones that refuse to pay a living wage. A budget is a moral document. Invest in the people and do better.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Our next comment card is from Alice Miller.
Thank you, Alice Miller, 2038 Walker Avenue. I just want to say, I know everybody's eager to go. I want to support the property increase to go to these wide variety of human needs. And I want to commend, I haven't seen a lot of you all since the passing of the police ordinances, including data transparency and the pretextual stops. And I think this is the opportunity. Our biggest line item is what we are paying the police. And at this point, we all know that the crime is horrendous for sure, but are we getting a return on investment for that? And right now, the statistics are showing that Memphis Police Department has half the solvability of national averages of police force, which is already very poor. And so at this point, I do not understand that they should be given any extra and any CIP money in the future extra, either when we have this looming debt that the award or whatever is going to come from Tyree Nichols' case, which was the big national attention this year on us in Memphis. Is police really showing? At this point, I'm hoping that you council people, and I know Mr. Carlisle will, at this point, speaking to really the accountability. And if we have this data transparency, what are we going to do with it? That's the next big ask. I think we can show as a model the passing of this reform, but if we don't do anything with it, like right now, pretextual stops are still happening. Even Citizen Hunter Dempster was on film, being pulled over for a tag thing. So at this point, this data, that's being collected by Decarcerate Memphis. But the question really is, what are we going to do? And I do not believe they should have any extra money, this extra 47, whatever, when they're showing at this point.
Ms. Miller, thank you for your comments. Mr. Mel Atkins. Still here.
Mel Atkins, 62 North Main Street. I want to commend the City Council for doing a good job this year. y'all have been passing some good things. I just want to talk about the paper tags. Right now, the buy-here pay lots, the American Car Centers, and the rest of those guys, I'm asking to y'all really pass something to check those out, because the crime has been committed in a lot of districts your guys are in. And I'm in the field and I'm checking out the paper tags. I've been saying this, I think I've been saying this for the last 5 months. The paper tag situation is getting out of control. I don't think your guys are regulating. I went out myself and checked out 15 buy-here car lots myself. And I can buy a paper tag for less than $1,000 with registration on any car anywhere in this city without no inspections. Please, I'm begging you. I'm in this field. I'm here today to tell you that that is the crime that's happening in the city dramatically. I can buy your car right now, Mr. Warren. I can get your car with a paper tag, with a scan, and registration for $1,000 today out of your car lot, out of your garage. Mr. Jones, park on the street. I live 62 North Main. I pass everybody every day. Everybody passes me every day. They broke into my truck, stole my truck. My truck was actually scanned in Frazier with a paper tag on it. Come on now. Please, I'm here because I'm in the field and I'm asking them and they telling me, tell the city council this is what's going on in the neighborhoods. It's not the juveniles, it's the money maker. That's the money maker now. It ain't the drugs no more. It's the tags on the cars. Please, pass an ordinance to do something about that. I already talked to Chief Davis about it. We're trying to get undercover cops to do stingrays in it. It's not helping. They can print the tags at Kinko's easily. Please, I'm begging you. I'm here out of my own safety telling y'all guys what's going on.
Thanks,
we got to
Mr.
do
Atkins.
that.
Thank you. Amber Sherman, followed by Walter Brody.
Hi, my name is Amber Sherman, 6070 North Belgrove Cove, Memphis, Tennessee. So I just wanted to make some comments around the budget hearings that I was watching. One thing that was really alarming to me was that the police were asking for $44 million from CIP funds to purchase 10 drones, which is more surveillance technology that we've asked them to not have. New cameras, new body cameras, and then also sidearm signals for the side of their guns, so that when they pull out their firearm, it automatically turns their body camera on. Which doesn't make any sense because the police chief has said on multiple occasions that officers will always have their body cameras automatically turned on. So why would we be paying millions of dollars for something that would turn the camera on for them if they're supposed to always have their body cameras on? And none of you spoke up. So it's really concerning to me. It's upset me and my homegirls. Y'all finna waste my tax dollars on something we don't need because the police chief herself has said it's not needed because the officers will always have their cameras on, and when they don't, they'll be reprimanded. So I really need someone on the council, J.B. Smiley maybe, to call out that they don't need this extra money and say something when they're asking for funds that are unnecessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sherman. Mr. Walter Brody.
Good evening. My name is Walter Brody. I stay at 4256 Ledbetter Cove, Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, let's go and pray right now. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you once again. Father God, continue to bless all the city council members, everybody who behind the scene is working. Bless all our leaders. Bless our both our mayors. Father God, continue to bless our president, vice president, every Republican, Democrat, independent, congressmen, senators. Father God, bless everybody who came here today to voice their opinion. Father God, I command the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost on every man, woman, child in this city, this state, this country, and all around the world. Lord, forgive us for all our sins. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen and amen.
Amen.
And the city council, please forgive me for the last time I was here. Correct me any time that if I go overboard, because there's one thing about this Bible, I got to respect each and every one of you. I can't get out of order, and be, protocol. So please forgive me.
You got it, brother. Okay.
You good with us?
This meeting is adjourned.